Good evening and welcome to the Walden County Builders Board meeting. At this time, 5 p.m., 29 April 2025, I would like to call this meeting to order. At this time, I'd also like to call the roll of the board members that are here. Robert Everton. George Hogan.
Here.
Robert Andrews. Gary Billingsley. John Dalton.
Here.
Matt Bailey, I'm here. Randall Yates. Mark Holmes.
Here.
And Mr. Bob Huff. Here. So we now have everybody here. We have a quorum.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, is the speaker on? Not having a hard time.
All the speakers here.
He was yelling pretty good, so I thought it was on.
Yeah, I
So
thought
just for the for the benefit of those at home,
Everybody
he's
can
called the
hear me
roll.
good.
Talking to my bad ear.
So, that being said, I would like for us to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If you happen to have any of your cell phones or that type of device, if you would turn that to silence. And then we've already run across the microphones here, so any of the board members, when you go to talk, if you would turn your microphone on or turn it off if you're not talking. You all received your board packages last week, and I hope everybody has them with you and had a time to review them and look over them. And at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
We have the second then. This is for the agenda for tonight. And then I'll go to the minutes and get them approved from our last meeting. And then I would like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting that was the 2020.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Great, thank you.
And I'll second it.
That is, then the minutes are approved. Is there anything that anybody would have that they might want to add to this meeting tonight? All right, then.
I will at a later time.
All right, then, thank you. So at that time, the motion carries for the agenda and for our meeting, our minutes from the last meeting. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Billy. That way he can kind of explain what we're here for tonight and what the board has come together for today.
You go swear him in, Frankie.
Yes, sir, I can do that at this time. If there's anyone in the audience that will be giving any testimony this evening at all and coming before the board, this is a quasi-judicial hearing, so you will be sworn. So I'd ask that you stand and raise your right hand. Anyone, if you don't stand and raise your hand, that means you're not going to be testifying in any way, form, or fashion. That includes counsel, Mr. Bearden, anyone speaking, stand and raise your right hand. Counsel, I can always, yes, thank you. All right, everyone, okay, all right. And if for some reason you make a determination later, just tell them you're not sworn, if so, and we can swear you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to be giving will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge that the members have been sworn for testimony.
Good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies. The first case we have is case number 25-02. The complaint before you between Valerios and Justin Hammond. Mr. Valerio entered into a contract with Mr. Hammond on 10/26 of '23 to build a studio apartment for $86,650. Mr. Hammond has been paid a sum of $77,990 to date. There has been one approved inspection, the plumbing roof on 7/11, and a special inspection requested on 1/21 by the owner due to the contractor not answering their call. And that inspection was for a stop work order to be issued because anything happened on the job. Project is not complete, and there was a lien placed on the property. We'll cover the counts. Count 1, committing mismanagement or misconduct in the practice of contracting that caused financial harm to the customer. Specifically, valid liens have been recorded against the customer's property for supplies or services ordered by the contractor for the customer's job. The contractor has received funds from the customer to pay for the supplies or services, and the contractor has not had the liens removed from the property. I have a couple of questions for the Valerio. Can you come up, please? When was the lien placed on the property? Do you remember?
The concrete was poured in July. I believe the lien was placed like in August. They sent me the letter, August, September.
Okay. And that was placed by whom?
The concrete company, Fort Walton Beach Concrete Company.
Okay. And why was it placed?
The bill has not been paid.
Okay. Did you pay Mr. Hammond for the supplies or services related to the lien?
I paid him $78,000, three draws.
And that was part of the material?
Right, right.
And has this been released yet?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Count 2, committing mismanagement or misconduct in the practice of contracting that caused financial harm to a customer. Specifically, the contractor has abandoned the customer's job and percentage of completion is less than the percentage of the total contract price paid to the contractor as of time of abandonment. Complainant states Mr. Hammond has not been on the job since August the 6th of '24. There was to date $77,990 paid. The contract amount was $86,650. Therefore, 90% of the job has been paid. You can see in the package that you have 3 checks paid to Mr. Hammond's, total $77,990. Count 3, committing fraud or deceit in the practice of contracting. I'd ask you to discuss how Mr. Hammond was deceitful, if you can.
Well, he called and texted and said he was coming every day. He had the garage doors, going to put them up. He's going to come finish the building.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, can you speak? Can you pull that mic down so everybody can hear you really well? And just for the record's sake, can you both please state your name and spell it?
My name is Kathy Valerio. It's Walerio.
And if you intend to
My
speak,
name is
sir.
Tomer Valerio.
Thank you.
Yeah, the last time he came to our building, he texted us and said he's going to have everything done. He sent the electrician out. That's the last time we had seen anybody. Then when was it, like in January, February? I mean, I kept texting him every day, what's going to get done, going to hear this, going to do that, don't hear anything. And then when he got arrested and got out of jail, he called me, we're going to get this finished, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, I'm going to get everything done. There's nothing, he's came out there and finished up the little bit of edging of the tin, that's it. That's all that's been done. He hasn't paid for the concrete. I don't know if he paid for the electrician. The electrician called me. There was never a permit pulled for our building for the electric to be even done. So the electrician's kind of up in the air about that because he's scared of losing his license. Well, I called Walton County to come out there because there's no inspections that have been done, and I wanted to find out what we need to do next to get, if we needed to fire him, what we needed to get done to get our building done. So he told me, he sent me all the paperwork for you guys to come up here. He said y'all would take care of it. So that's what the Walton County inspector told me when he came out in February. put no work order on the building, and he said, okay, I'll take care of it. And I was like, okay.
And the stop work order that was placed said that he would need to get an engineer involved to, before he poured the slab, no inspection for it.
Yeah.
All we did was the plumbing rough in and nothing since then.
That was my question. So that the only inspection they had was the rough and plumbing. There was no footing inspection, no slab inspection.
No slab inspection, no.
No nothing. No electrical inspection, no nothing.
And the lien for the concrete company, you said still has not been cleared?
Right. And when I got the notice, I called and told him. He goes, okay, I'll get a check out to him. Yeah, and still haven't been paid.
Anything else you want to add?
We're just tired of waiting. I mean, we paid for the building to be done, and we're still waiting, and here we are. We're going to have to pay probably to get it, everything like it's supposed to be done legally to get the building finished.
Okay.
Did you receive any lien releases when you paid him?
No. Matter of fact, I gave him, when's the last time I gave him a check? It's dated, it's in there. But I haven't received anything from them. I keep calling them, asking if it's been paid, and he said no, hasn't been paid, but I haven't received anything from them. I did go talk to the state attorney's office about suing him for how much money we made. He told me, I don't know if I should tell y'all this, but he said after 30 or 60 days or 90 days, the concrete company cannot put a lien on my property. That's what he told me. I don't know if that's true or not. We can't talk to a lawyer to find out. But he said they got like 90 days to put a lien.
May I pause here? Mr. Bearden, you're referring to documents, and you're looking at documents as a board. Can you put on the record what documents you've shared and I'd request that you put those on the record if that's what you are having the board refer to.
Okay, they have everything in their package except for the stop work order.
And when you, okay, but specifically for the record, so can you walk through the documents that you've received? You have a case, and it has the complaint. And does it have those checks in it that they're referring to?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, so I'd ask that Mr. Bearden move that into the record. Would that be okay with the chair?
Yes, ma'am. The case number 25-02 packet.
Yes. Everything should be in there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Were all the documents that you're referring to given to Mr. Hammond as well? The complaint, those documents, were those given to Mr. Hammond? The complaint was given to Mr. Hammond, okay.
Ms. White, can I?
You will be able, yes, sir.
Well, the complaint, that we have received no other documents that the complaint is referring to now. We've seen nothing.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So anything you're specifically referring to, if he doesn't have it, you'll have to show it to him so that we know what it is. If you want to share that packet so that he can use it for questioning.
I didn't know he was going to do all this. I'd have it all together. If I know he's going to be doing all this, I'd have it all together. He's got all the stuff.
Picture of the stop work order.
That's the guy you
No, he's his boss of him. He's the boss.
What was the date on that?
February the 20th, 25.
February 20th, 25. Would you like to move that on into the record? Would you please show that to council? Thank you.
He ain't gonna finish it that way. What? He's not gonna finish it. I know.
And Mr. Bearden, I'll mark that as Exhibit 1, the stop work order.
That it?
So, Billy, since the stop work order, has there been any work done?
He has sent a guy out there to finish the edging of the tin around the doors. That's the only thing he's done.
After the stop work order?
Yeah, I told him there's a stop work order posted out there, and the guy still came out there and did it.
Okay, let's look at the doors, the video. See.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Bearden, I would ask if you would, if you have, did you give him a copy of your packet? Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Okay, so he has a copy of the packet, which includes the contract that you're referring to, the complaint you're referring to. We'll give him just a moment to look over that in case he wants to cross-examine anyone. They've referred to some checks. There are some canceled checks in there, so we'll give him a second to look at that.
You want to approach him?
Can I recall?
Yes, and you know what, if you don't mind, I'll have them go to the podium and I'll turn my mic around for you, so you will be able to use my mic and they can stand at the podium and you can question them. You need to be in front of a mic for the recording.
Okay.
But yeah, if you could do that. Yeah, you come right over here.
Thank you.
Mr. and Ms. Valerio, you would come around up.
Thank you. Can I? Thank you. Thanks, Ms. White. I'm John. Thanks.
You get the file.
No, it's fine.
Board, thank y'all for allowing me here today.
Would you please state your name?
John Howell. I'm the civil attorney who represents Mr. Hammond and Hammond Contracting. Is it, I want to make sure I'm saying this right, Ms. Valeria and Mr. Valeria?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Valeria, just a couple of questions. So, did Mr. Hammond put a lien on your property?
Concrete company.
Okay, and I'm looking for the first time, me and Mr. Hammond's looking at the packet. Was a lien recorded on your property?
I'm not sure it's a recorder. They sent me out a thing, said they was going to put a lien if it wasn't paid.
Okay, so you don't know if a lien has actually been recorded on your property?
I do not.
Okay. And then, Miss Valerio, if you could look at the stop work order that Mr. Beard showed me earlier. Again, that's the first time we're seeing that as well. Or are you familiar with it? I'm sorry.
He posted it up there, but I did not look at it when he posted it on the building that day.
So is that the stop work order, Ms. Valeria? I'm sorry. If you'll take a minute and look at it, I apologize.
I have no idea. I just know he posted a red stop work order. I didn't read it.
Is there another I can look at? Another copy? Yeah, I please, because I don't, I'm sorry.
Is that the only one you have? You can read it to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We'll just bring it back.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Valeria, can I give it to her?
Yeah, you can.
Sorry. I don't want to. Ms. Valeria, on the top left of that stop work order, you see the little date in white. I barely can read it, but can you read it?
I can't read it because I'm blind.
Okay. Well, for the record, I think it says February.
2/20/25.
Yes, sir. That's what I saw, Mr. Valeria. So February 20th to 25. So that was, is it safe, how long ago was that? February 20th.
2 months ago? I don't know. I've been sick. I've been in the hospital with sepsis the last month and a half, so.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. Ms. Valeria, is that stop, where is that stop work order placed on your property?
He posted on the building, right on one of the poles.
Okay, is it still there?
I haven't been to the property, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, so I don't know. Do I need to go off the record, or I don't know if Mr. Valerio is a complainant. So can I ask him?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, Mr. Okay, Mr. Valerio.
This is quasi judicial, so the board can speak. I mean, it's not super evidential.
Okay. Thank you. I just left Crestview, so I'm kind of still in the front of another judge. Mr. Valerio, is there a stop work order on your property now?
Last time I checked, I was there, I didn't see nothing.
Okay.
Usually I just pass by the property. I usually don't go in. I look from outside and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you hear me or?
I can hear you, it's not going to be
Yeah.
recorded if you
Okay.
don't. Yeah.
Is there any other notices that's on your property today?
Not that I seen any.
Okay. And Ms. Valerio, earlier you mentioned you had spoken with the state attorney's office, and I'm not going to go too deep into that, but you'd mentioned 90 days. To your recollection, was there ever a 90-day period where Mr. Hammond was not on your property?
Yes.
Okay, and when?
Last time we seen him was like August, September, and he didn't come back and contact us until, when was it? February?
February when you contact us, I guess after you got the letter or something. So.
Okay, so you're saying from August of 2024 till February of this year, he hasn't been back on your property?
I don't know if he's even been back on my property since then. He's called me and contacted me, and he sent the guy out there to finish the edging. Because when he called me, I told him I was sick in the hospital, and
Okay. So,
last person that was on our property, though, was an electrician. He came out and finished it because I had to pay an electrician extra $1,000 to put up some can lights. And Justin had been out there since then.
okay, so I don't have a copy of this, but I'd like to get this admitted into the record as well. I'll just say what it is, I guess. It's a text message communications between Ms. Valerio and Mr. Hammond, where she's giving him the gate code, where he's coming on the property, where she's saying, okay, great, thanks.
And what day was that?
April 15th.
Yeah, April 15th, like last week.
Okay, I thought you said he hasn't been back to your property.
Well, April 15th, I gave it to him, but I don't know if he's been to the property or he gave it to the guy working there.
Okay,
I told him I'd give him the gate code, so I gave him the gate code.
okay.
I have no cameras out there to see who comes and who goes, but
Understood. Thank you, Ms. Valerio. Has any products been delivered on your property from a metal company?
is that product's mine?
We haven't seen any.
Okay.
Not since the 10 that he put up back in August of last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, I don't have any copies of this. I'm just going to read this into the record. Good afternoon. Okay, you gave me the gate code. Good afternoon. My metal company delivered material over there yesterday. Metal guys reached out and said they would be there tomorrow, but y'all aren't aware of any.
Yeah, he only text message, but doesn't mean they showed up.
Yeah, I'm asking if any materials have actually been delivered.
We don't go to the
We don't go-
property
we
every
don't live
day.
out there.
We don't live out there, so.
Okay.
We just drive by, see nothing is done, and that's it.
Understood. So I'd like to admit this in the record?
Yes.
Okay.
Exhibit 2.
One second, board, I apologize. So, Ms. Valerio, what was the total contract price of y'all's job?
It was 86,000 and something.
Okay, and of the
I have it in
80,
front of me.
yes, ma'am, that's That's close enough, I appreciate it. So of the 86,000, how much has been paid to Hammond Contracting?
Look at that.
Like 78,000. I gave him 3 checks. One was $25,995, 2 of them was $29,995, the third one was $26,000.
Okay. And is that in the packet that you submitted? Okay. So 86,000 roughly is the contract price.
Right.
You've given him about 78,000. So is it safe to say that there's about $8,000
Right.
left due on the?
Right.
Okay. And earlier I heard you on the stop work order, there was an inspection. The work was stopped. No, I believe one of the board members had mentioned no footing inspection, no slab inspection. So of the $8,000 owed to Hammond Contracting, what's left to do on that particular job on the contract that y'all signed with Hammond Contracting?
There is no garage doors put up. There's no trimming around the edges of the wood on the top. There's no, what do you call it, soffit around the wood? I'm sorry. There's no soffit around the wood. There's no garage doors. And the 2 doors going into the thing, they just put wedges in them. They're not exactly framed in. There is no,
The light.
there's no lights hanging. It's supposed to be 8 lights on the inside and 6 hanging lights on the outside.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's no water spigot. It's supposed to be 3 spigots put on the outside and a wash station put on the inside.
I'm sorry, you said a wash station?
Yeah, like a little wash container sink.
Okay. How much are the garage doors?
Roughly, I don't know. I haven't priced them.
Okay.
I'm sure they're like more than $8,000.
Okay. So the garage doors are trim, no soffit, doors not completely framed in, some hanging lights, some spigots in the washroom?
Right.
And is that pretty much, I understand there's probably a couple things here and there.
Right.
Okay.
That's the main thing that the contract was for, that's left on. And I texted him and told him all the stuff that was left.
Ma'am, I'm sorry.
I texted him and told him all the stuff that was left that needed to be done for
Okay.
the contracted price.
Okay. And when did you text him?
After, he should have it. Go get my phone, I can show you.
Ms. Valeria, in this packet, there are no text message communications.
No, because in this packet was one that I spoke to the the builder inspector to come out.
Okay,
I gave him all the information.
All right, well, in the complaint, there are also no text message communications attached to the complaint, so I'm just trying to figure it out.
Let's see. I sent it to him on April the 22nd.
So a week ago?
Yeah, a week ago.
Okay. Okay, and I'm going to read this text message into the record, if that's a thing. Justin, sorry it's taking me so long to get this to you. I'm sorry. Hey, Justin, I'm sorry it's been so long to get this to you. Number 1, garage doors. Number 2, frame in around side door and back door. Number 3, soffit, fascia. 2 includes exposed wood on the outside top roof area. Number 4, 8 high bay LED fixtures for inside. Number 5, 6 high bay LED fixtures for front. Number 6, 2 motion detector lights. Number 7, 200 amp temp power pole. Number 8, water entrance to building with 4 water spigots and 1 hand wash station. Number 9, can lights fixtures. 10, foam in around bottom of inside building material.
Building
And then-
metal.
Ma'am?
The building metal. Building metal.
Building metal. Yeah, what did I say? I'm sorry.
You said material.
I'm sorry. Foam, I'll read number 10 again. Foam in around the bottom of inside building metal. And then in closing on this text, you say, this is all I've seen that needs to be done. I may have missed some things. I'm not feeling up to my usual self. Been extremely sick this past month. And that was on April 22nd. I'd like to enter this one too. Thank you.
Will you say that?
Ma'am. Exhibit 3.
And I sent him 4 pictures of the stuff that showed him what needed to be done.
I'm sorry.
I sent him 4 pictures
Okay.
showing him the stuff that needs to be done.
Okay. So, Ms. Valerio, is it safe to say that y'all's job, the contract at Hammond, whether it's been a period of time, whether it's been over 90, under 90, is y'all's job almost done? Is his job on y'all's property almost done?
If he finished all of this, yes, it would be done.
Okay. All right.
And we would owe him the rest of the money that I owe him, but all of this is not done, so.
Understood. I don't think I have any more questions for Ms. Valerio or Mr. Valerio right now. I appreciate y'all.
Okay, we're good?
Okay.
So at this time, I open up for the board. At this time, I open up for any of the board members that would like to have a question for Mr. and Mrs. Malario, that you could do that.
Can I ask, sir, before that, Mr. Bailey, I just want to clarify that we have a stop work order as Exhibit 1. The text message, the first one was Exhibit 2, and that was passed around to you all. And I'm just going to leave, I'll pass this so that Joy can collect these in order. And then I would just ask, since we've presented to the other side that packet, that the packet be Exhibit 3, so that everybody's operating off the same sheet of music here, okay?
Yes. I
Okay,
agree
thank
with
you.
that. And the board members, we all understand that she's going to get all of these texts carried to Miss Joy, and then we'll have access to all of that. Everybody will have that into the packet. Any one of the board members now that would like to question the complainant here?
I had a question, I guess, for council. In the text I guess that was Exhibit 2, the text from Ms. Valerio. Justin said that his guy was supposed to be there, drop some metal off, and he wanted to come by and check to see if they got the job done. What was the job done?
I don't know if it said check to come by to see if the job's done, but I don't mind reading it back into the record verbatim. But I don't know, but
If you want to pass that back to Mr. Holmes so he can read that and get his answer and share with the board what his question and answer is.
Yes.
sorry, Mr. Holmes.
You're fine, you're fine. I'm going to swing by there with them tomorrow to make sure they get it completed. What was supposed to be completed.
Mr. Holmes, can I defer that question to Mr. Hammond?
Yeah. I guess while you're doing that, what was to be completed and was it completed?
So, on the exterior of the building,
I need you to come up and use the mic. Come on up. State your name for me and then do that.
Justin Hammond. So on the exterior of the building we've got metal siding, exterior metal siding, and originally when the guys framed it, they didn't know any better. They accidentally framed it for 8-foot door openings. So we had to have them go back out, reframe it for a 6'8" door opening, and then redo the metal on the exterior to seal the building up. I don't know how much detail I'm supposed to get in other than that, but I will say that we did catch the stop work order, and on the stop work order, it was for not having an inspection. That's what the stop work order stated. So I reached out to Mr. Billy, and I also reached out to, I can't think of the other building official's name right this second, the one that's there when Mr. Billy's not, but maybe he might be able to answer that one.
Ricky Rao.
Ricky Rao, yeah. So I reached out to both of them and explained, the situation to them with the original inspector when he came out, because we had the plumbing set up and we were already ready to do the footings once we did the plumbing inspection. So while he was there, he said, good to go. And I guess in my idiocracy, I didn't get that in writing. But I reached out to Mr. Billy and talked to him, and he said basically we'd have to have an engineer state that the concrete would be okay, which was no problem. Well, then the very next week, the stop work order was gone from the building. So at that point, we decided, let's go ahead and get over here and get this thing done so that we can get this, get the job finished for these folks and move on.
Did you check with Mr. Bearden to make sure the stop work order was still intact?
Well, I talked to Mr. Bealey on a couple different occasions, and then on the last occasion, he told me we just needed to get some engineering over to him. So that's when I assumed that as long as we were.
Was the stop order still?
We didn't take it down.
Okay, so it was still in
posted,
effect? The stop work order was still in effect?
We did not take it down, Mr. Dalton. I wouldn't know that we had, but for I know it's still posted out there.
Okay.
So I
it
have
is
not been
still
by to
in
look
effect.
at it. It's still in effect, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so the only thing that we did at this point, just to keep the building protected from weather elements and things like that, was basically just close it in. We didn't actually do any, major work. We were just basically keeping the rain out of the building so that it wouldn't cause any further damage to the building until I could get the engineering stuff taken care of for Mr. Billy. So.
Was the foundation, was it a turned-down slab or?
It was a
still-
monolithic slab.
Okay.
They said that. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have another question, too. It says on here that the concrete was poured in July. What date in July was that concrete poured?
Don't have that information on me. I apologize.
I can tell you, I got it saved in my pictures, gotta find it.
In the notes, it showed that it was poured 6/14/24.
Oh, there you go.
And if that's the truth, our permit was pulled at 7/3/24. Is there any reason maybe that you would have poured the slab and then when it started pulling the permit?
Oh, no, sir. No, we didn't, no, sir. We had the plumbing inspection before we ever did the
So then
slab.
maybe the notes and that we've read, that could be incorrect then?
Yes, sir.
And the footer, because once the footer inspection was then taken and it passed, then you went and poured the concrete.
Correct. So on this particular slab, there's only one bathroom. It's one toilet. Like, that was the only, vanity that we had on the property at all, other than what's coming in through the wall, the water inlet or whatever. So there was very little plumbing there. So when we had the original inspector come out, we were already ready to cover it up and put plastic down, and we did all that the same day. And we're ready to pass a footer inspection. And I did not, I will say, I do not remember if we called it in for the second inspection, but we did get the okay to go ahead and pour it.
I would like to make the notation there in the notes for our board members that we reviewed that date is then incorrect of showing that the concrete was poured. Yeah, my mic's on. Any other questions from the board members for Justin or for Mr. and Mrs. Mallory?
Concrete bump there on July 29.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
July 29?
Yeah.
It was poured July 29?
When the pump truck was sitting there,
Yeah,
Okay.
July 29.
because I drove by, took a picture that day.
And
so
our
it was-
notation says that he poured the concrete and wanted another draw to pay for the concrete and order the metal. And this was 6/14/2024.
Will you please
Is-
make sure you show that picture to this, to Mr.
Yeah.
Hammond and his
Okay.
council, if you're going to use that as a basis for,
This makes quite a bit of difference.
yes, yes.
Yeah, so we paid him originally the down payment in October when we signed the contract, and then I gave him the second check when he asked for it, because he needed to pay for the concrete and everything after he already poured it, or before he poured it. The second check, the date on the second check.
But when I'm reading that is that the gentleman has poured it without having the permit there, whereas this is not the truth. So that is in our mind, I just want notation made of this.
Okay.
So did you get paid from the owner for the concrete?
We got paid a draw for the project, yes, sir, for many
concrete.
different aspects of the job, yes, sir.
Okay. What is the reason that you did not pay the concrete company?
It just got missed. We were doing a ton of jobs, and it was an accident. I have a great relationship with the concrete company, and we've already reached out to them and basically taken care of it. To my knowledge, I didn't know that they had placed a lien. I know that they sent out paperwork for it. Basically every person that you get any kind of material from for anything, they send out a notice to owner. So I guess we weren't, majorly concerned about that because they send it out the next day. It's not like a 30-day thing. And we had a net 30 with that contractor, or with that sub, so it was
I'm a
just
general contractor, so I'm well aware of
Yes,
those
sir.
donors. So, on your contract, I don't see any statutory notices, and one of them is, one of the notices is about liens, but they're not on your contract, and that is a required statutory notice.
Mr. Dalton,
Yes.
I will state on the record that I have looked at my clients. I'll state on the record, I've looked at these, and I'm cleaning these things up for him. You are correct, that it does not have certain, now this was prior to me being retained. This was October of '23. I didn't even know Mr. Hammond then. However, yes, that's a point well taken, Mr. Dalton.
And you did receive this notice to owner with the lien? Did you receive a notice to owner from the concrete company?
I just
before you received the lien notice?
I just
Or the
received
actual lien?
I didn't receive the actual lien. I just received the thing from the concrete company saying they're going to put a lien on our property.
Okay. So we don't know if there's a lien on your property or
I do not, sir.
You received a notice that they intend to put a lien on your property,
Yeah,
but you don't know if
right.
one has been placed.
Right.
Counsel, do you know if there's been one placed?
Yes, sir. I checked this morning, and unless if I missed something, but I spelled their name. It's a unique name. I spelled it correctly. There was a notice commencement that was filed. There's not a lien on their property.
There's zero liens on the property?
No, sir. There's zero. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Mr. Hammond, has that concrete been paid for now?
Not as of yet, but I reached out to the concrete company today to get that taken care of.
How long
immediately.
ago, how many months has this been sitting on the slab, already poured and hardened, that hadn't been paid for?
Looks like 9 months.
Do you think that is fair?
No, sir.
Do you think that the way that you've operated on this building is fair?
No, sir.
I don't think so either. This is just the truth.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on the board here?
Would you let him go back on your job?
I'm sorry.
Would you let him?
Let him go back on our job. I tell you the truth, I'm scared to.
Before we go into the other two cases, can you just kind of give us, in your own words, the reasons why you answered no to the chairman here? What was the reason for this whole, I guess, this whole situation, the time delay and everything?
There's actually several different factors. We took on a little more work than probably what we should have at one time. Getting subs to work and show up like they say they were going to, it's been a nightmare. And then, we got promised by 2 different garage door companies to take care of the job and had issues with both. One basically told us that they were coming and had it handled. That's what we reached out to the customer and let them know, and then they bailed on us, even after we gave them their deposit. So it's just been a weird year for us, but I do apologize for the way that things have gone, and I'm more than willing to finish and fix the project. That's what I basically set up, and I let them know already, and we set out to do, and if given the opportunity, we would take care of it.
Looking through the notations too in the packet that we have, the customers they have been through this. They have been trying to let you get there and finish this thing up. It sounds like even in what they brought into it before us in the text, as soon as a couple of weeks ago, they're trying to work with you to get this thing tended to. Mr. Robert just asked the customer that if you would go out there and tend that. She says that she's kind of scared and leery of that. Could our board get you to make sure you would go do that?
Absolutely.
That means a lot to me.
It does to me too, sir. And I want to make sure everything is right and legal so we can get the power turned on. If it's not legal, then we're going to be stuck.
Can I make,
I agree with this.
can I make one statement on that, just
Yes, sir.
so you're aware? I know we had mentioned it once before, but you got to reach out to the power company to get them to come stake that off for us, because we can't put that tent pole in until they come and stake that off for us.
Yeah, I didn't think we could do anything until we get everything inspected and the engineer out there to make sure everything is right.
The tent pole we could have put in before we started the building. That's when I was telling you that we got to get Choco out there to stake all that off for us, because we can't set tent pole without them giving us
Yeah,
a
I've been to
location.
Shilco. They won't do anything for me. You have to do it.
They won't do it unless you got an account set up with them. That's why, so you had to set up an
At
account.
this
so that
time,
we
we're
could-
not going to get into all of that part
Okay.
of it.
Okay.
Understood.
But I'm hearing some things that I think is a positive here, that it's possible that we could get this thing resolved.
Right. And it's got to be resolved before, he said the building would be done by the first year after we got the permit, which is coming up.
That was another thing, when I first read this, you wrote in your notations that he was going to finish that in a month and a half. That could not happen. But that is what we read.
Right.
So I knew that that was not possible at all right then. And as things go through, the communication, looks like the communication is very well there as far as if he's getting there or if he's not getting there. But then as far as the job, that is not correct. You know better than that.
On any monies you received, did you give them any kind of receipts or what the money was for, or partial lien releases?
I haven't as of yet, but I plan to.
Justin, for the record, how long you been in business? Because, I mean, I know Funak's a small town, and I was raised and born here. And your name here is all you got, but it's worth millions of dollars in the Funak. And I was raised that way from the childhood up. And I'm just surprised you caught up in this, because even in a bad situation, it's a way to fix it with, I'm sorry, and I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there at 12 o'clock tonight. And I'm not hearing none of that.
Unfortunately, I do.
A whole lot of it, promising over and over and over.
Yeah, but no results. If I'm gonna fix a bad thing, I'm gonna stay a little over for you. I'm gonna get that mud off my face, they call it. In fact, I'm gonna probably give you a little extra. Because I'm sorry, I went to sleep with your money in my pocket, they call it. See, and I'm a little shocked by that. Because you gotta get in a bad situation to even be accused of this. Not necessarily guilty of it, but just to be looked at. And believe it or not, in this little old town, it's worse than a wildfire. And I'm telling you, because I'm one of them. I'm a car salesman here, 25 years of it. And I know people, I worked in the prison system. The lowest of the lowest there. You got to earn their respect. You can't command it. And that's what I think we're missing here.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Anyone else on the board have any questions for Justin or Mr. and Mrs. Valeria? All righty, thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys.
So then we can move to the next case.
I think what we should do, I'd spoke with Mr. Bearden before, he would like to determine, you have 3 counts, so we need to determine first, do you find he's in violation of count 1, count 2, and count 3? Like, so you want to take them each count and have you all vote on each count based on the testimony. And I want to make something also clear to you, Mr. Bailey, based on something you said. I want to make sure the board is aware. Mr. Bearden produced to you the evidence that was given to him. You determined the weight of the evidence, and you determined, so you saw a discrepancy, and that's why you questioned. So I just want to remind the board that's what you're here for, is to look at the evidence, listen to the testimony, and make a determination based on that. So I want to encourage you that you're not bound by one thing. That's why you're here. And so I just want to just take it count by count. You all have the enumerated charge for each count on that. So I would just ask that you, starting with number 1, count 1 is a violation of Section 614B of the County Code of Ordinances, which is aligned with Section 489, 129, 1G1. So, or actually, yeah, is that the 1GL? Is it 1G1 on this one? Yeah. So it's the 1G1 Florida statutes. Do you all have that particular, do you need me to read that statute, or do you guys have that?
We have it.
Okay, does anybody, I just want to make sure everybody's looking at the statute and taking into consideration the evidence that was presented. We'll give everybody an opportunity to make a determination on count 1, and then, Mr. Bailey, if you could have them vote on that, on count 1.
All right, so Mr. Bailey, you want to come back and then present that for this case here? We'll go ahead and get this tended to on Justin.
I would like to make a motion that Mr. Hammond is guilty of count 1.
I have a motion that he is guilty of the count 1. I have a second on that. Mr. Billy, you read the count 2, please.
Well,
Wait, let's do count 1. So, count 1, we want to make sure you all have, a motion and a second.
Go ahead and vote on
And
this
then
one.
vote on that.
We're not going to do all 3 at once.
That's right, because you can find him guilty of 1, not 2, 1, 3, or not at all.
All right, so I have that motion. I have the second. All in favor of that?
aye.
Aye.
If we could do a roll call for Ms. Holland, that'd be good. If we'll just say aye or nay, just go around, and then she'll have everybody's vote, if you don't mind.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay. All right then, Mr. Bailey.
Mr. Chairman, or Ms. White, can I ask a question?
Do you want to inquire based on the factual basis?
Yeah, but
Okay.
statute.
Okay, he would like to inquire.
All right, you can approach.
Thanks, sir. So I just want to get some clarification. Count 1, we're talking about a valid lien's been recorded against the property. Is that correct?
That's part of count 1, but not all of count 1.
That concrete has not been paid for,
To this day.
and that has been 9 months from what Mr. Hammond told me this.
Understood, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to make sure, I didn't know if the board had to specify it in particular, but I think y'all just did on the concrete. I just want to make sure it wasn't on the lien. That's all.
Yeah. And
Yes, sir. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Money is still owed.
Thank y'all.
thank you. All right, go ahead there, Mr. Bailey.
I get my paper turned over.
So that's count 1. Are you asking him to move to count 2 now? Okay.
Okay, count 2, committing mismanagement or misconduct in the practice of contracting that caused financial harm to a customer. Specifically, the contractor has abandoned the customer's job and percentage of completion is less than the percentage of the total contract price paid to the contractor as of the time of abandonment. And that was $86,000 against the $77,000.
All right, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we find Mr. Hammond also guilty of count 2.
Is there a second for this?
I'll second.
I have a second then. All in favor of this?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Nay.
And then, Mr. Bailey, the third count.
Can I just speak on this too as well?
Council.
So again, board, I just want just some clarification. Count 2, my client was charged, or I may be using the wrong terminology, 489.121G2. Contractor has abandoned the job. Is the abandonment the reasoning for the count 2? Because I don't think there's been any proof that Mr. Hammond has officially abandoned the job in the statute.
So I can, for the boards, because to give you a, anything you find him guilty of, you're going to have a finding of fact. So we're going to have to let Mr. Hammond know what facts led you to that particular piece. Now, we know facts were presented. He's questioning what is the reasoning, what are the facts that lead you to say that it's a percentage of completion is less than the percentage of the total contract price paid to the contractor at the time of abandonment?
Yes, and I would also like the board to think of this as that all of this time going on, true, that was bad on not paying for the concrete, but the man has been going to the job. He has been there, and the customer has let him go back to the job as soon as a couple of weeks ago.
And they still
And so that is not abandonment there.
I would like to amend the motion on count 2 to remove the abandonment portion of that, but
I
leave
agree with
everything
that.
else.
Thank you. Do I have a second on that to remove that? There's a second by Robert Andrews then. All in favor of this?
Okay, all right, but we have to take we have to take the statute as a whole, so I just want to make sure you all understand that
This is for that whole number 2.
Yes, but if you, part of number 2 is that if you're finding that it's not, so it's a financial mismanagement or misconduct in the practice of contracting that caused financial harm to the customer for supplies or services ordered by the contractor for the contractor's job, the contractor abandoned the customer's job, and the percentage of completion is less. So if you find that one of those is not true and that's what you're voting, I just want to make sure, if you find he didn't abandon, you can't find him guilty of that. It has to be, all of those have to be met.
And I think at this time that he has not abandoned it, but he is having the financial problem with this thing, and that I think that the number 1, that he has owned that.
Okay,
But
so.
number 2, I don't think that full thing, any of that, he is, in my opinion now.
And that is what you're voting on, so your vote would be nay as a result of that. And if anyone else, if that changes if you find he did not abandon, and since we've explained that it must be all of those things, then I would ask that you do a roll call on the vote based on that information.
Then I would like to amend to find him not guilty of count 2 because he did not abandon the job.
I would like a second on that.
I'll second it.
Second from Robert Andrews. Then all in favor of this amendment?
Aye.
So that carries.
Are there any nays, just for the record?
No nays.
Okay, good deal.
Thank you for the board for re-listening to that, because that was worded a little funny, and I don't think it earned that.
Abandonment, you just means you can call repeatedly and then come to every day.
No, I do not believe that, but I do believe that the gentleman has been going through this, working on it.
But we don't know that,
I think the
but-
customer has been in compliance with that. It's
But-
been in agreement with this at the time.
But we don't know that for fact, because from what I'm looking at it, the concrete was poured in July, which we figured out, right?
Yeah.
And nothing else was done until October.
June, he
And that
said
is
June.
wrong.
Okay, so
Concrete was poured in June.
in my mind, that's what?
That is
August,
number 1.
September, October, that's 3 months. That's 90 days. That seems like abandonment to me.
Well, no, he was still there at the job,
And this one, that's close.
from what she's telling me.
That's
in
close.
the letter.
That's close. That's very close. I think so.
But in any case, you also have to, as a board, we're looking at this as that as a contract. That gentleman there, what he was doing out in Walden County, do we approve of this? For that customer right there, the customer, she seemed to be, and the gentleman there, approving enough to try to get the thing finished. He was dragging it out like putting line on a big largemouth bass, but that ain't good. You need to make sure that when you're out there with these customers, you follow up with that. That is what we're here to do as the contractor. We work on houses that they keep their life interest into. And when you're there, that is what we're here to govern, to make sure you go do that thing.
Can I ask if the audience can hear Mr. Bailey? Mr. Bailey, when I talk in this microphone, I can hear me. I think I need you to pull that, just pull it to, I know it's green, but pull it where it's really obnoxiously in your face.
All right, thank you.
Because Joy couldn't hear you either. I'm sorry.
We want all that on the record where everybody can hear it. That's good preaching.
Oh, no, then,
Yes, sir.
yes. Count three then, Mr. Bailey, thank you.
Okay. Count 3, committing fraud or deceit in the practice of contracting.
On number 3 there, do I have a motion for that as fraud or deceit of the contractor? A motion for that.
I have a motion. I'll say a motion that he did not commit fraud or deceit.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Robert Andrews seconds this.
I'm sorry, what was the motion? I didn't hear.
But motion that he did not
Okay.
commit
Mr.
fraud or
Robert
deceit.
Andrews, he seconds this. All in favor of that? Aye.
Aye.
Was there any nays?
Aye.
One nay, Mr. Dalton.
Will you say nay or aye?
I said aye.
I said aye, yeah. It was aye.
Aye. There were,
What's your definition of fraud? When you don't pull permanent property, when you agree to,
Your mic on.
exactly what is, you're saying is not fraud.
I'm not saying fraud.
Right.
I'm saying deceit. That is part of that.
When the expectation that
Oh, I'm not agreeing with none of this, sweetheart. This right here is a whole pile of bad, but this is a contractor over here with a customer that we're here to try to mediate this thing to get them where they can.
I don't think he lied about it. I don't think he lied about anything. I don't think he lied about
To
anything.
make sure that this contractor is abiding by what we would want here in Walden County, and he is here in front of us to try to get that tended to.
I don't think he lied about anything to benefit himself. That's why I don't think it's fraud or deceit. Because he's not coming on top of any of this.
And I don't think that the customer thinks he was. Because she and he are both trying to get him to finish the thing. That is what they're trying to do, get this man to finish their job.
All right, I just have a different definition of what the practice of contracting in the state of Florida, what that means.
Would you like to make a motion to revisit this?
No.
All right,
My
then
vote
it is
stands.
passed.
We have a motion and
There's a motion and a second. You all have voted. I think that the nays just didn't, yeah, so you're good.
Then that took care of that.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that took care of all three of the counts. Then, on this first case against Mr. Hammond,
I want to bring something up.
oh, two. Go
I want to
ahead,
bring
then.
something up and pass around to the board, not necessarily.
Do we each get one of these?
Yes.
Okay.
I think there's enough there. As I had stated before on the contract, he has no license number on there, no statutory notices on his contract, which is a violation of 489. That is not in a complaint, but it needs to be addressed, and it needs to come up at some time in the future.
So just for clarity, I spoke with Mr. Dalton before the meeting and said, we have not given him notice that he would be charged with this today, so it wouldn't be appropriate for us to vote on this. And actually, I believe it's appropriate to say that his attorney told us, hey, I saw that that was a problem, and I'm going to work that out in his contracts. But I think Mr. Dalton wanted the board to be on notice and Mr. Bearden to be on notice that if those things aren't in these contracts whenever they come, he would like for that to be a charge. That way, when the complaint comes to you, it's a count. Does that sufficiently?
That's correct.
So he wanted you all to be aware of it, Mr. Bearden to be aware of it, so that if that came up again, if they didn't have the proper terminology in there based on the statute, that this board would want to prosecute any violations of that.
And we have that we can have into the minutes that has been brought up then. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So For the penalty range, I told Mr. Bearden I would step in and help him out once we got to this portion. So this board has found him guilty of count 1 and not guilty of counts 2 and 3, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so on the penalty phase, under 489, 129, 1G1, there is we look at 61G 417. Do you guys have this? Do they have this penalty range? Okay, so this is the form that we're looking at, and it is if you look at the first page, it says G section. It's at the very bottom, the second from the bottom box here.
Right there, Mr. President.
And it says G section 49, 129, 1G, Florida statutes, mismanagement or misconduct causing financial harm to the customer. Is everybody in that box?
Yes, ma'am.
They give us a penalty range. You have the responsibility now to determine what that penalty is. So on this case, for count 1, there are minimums and there are maximums. The minimum is a $1,500 fine or probation or suspension. Does anybody have a question about the minimums? You do not have to fine him $1,500. You do not have to do probation, and you do not have to do suspension in all 3. You can do one. You can do a combination.
What is the maximum probation that is in this?
And this is not criminal probation. This is probation with this board.
That is right.
There's no guideline for that I've seen. So you could, I think probably a year would make, or 6, get a finite amount of time that isn't excessive in order to, whatever you think, 90 days. This board determines that. There's nothing in our ordinance that says that it has to be a specific probation period where you're monitoring to determine if you want to suspend or revoke a license. So I'm just letting the board be aware.
Anybody on the board have a question for Ms. Frankie on that?
I want to make a motion that we fine him $1,500 and no probation at this point.
So that was a motion for $1,500 fine and no probation at this time. Do I have a second for that? Any second?
What about?
Wait, let's go ahead and, if you want to second it, you can, or it can fail for a lack of a second and you can propose them. Or you can second it to have a discussion with the
I go
board.
with him with that, but I wanted to ask one more question.
Well, maybe what you could do is give a second for the sake of discussion. Yes, sir.
Do a second on that and for a check of inquiry.
And now yes, sir.
Now then, I have a motion and I have a second for that. Do I have any questions or query on that topic?
Well, I was last on the probation, like, we had 90, 120 days to get these people satisfied. With probation, you come back to us, and we can give them the $7,000 thing. It's what I want to do, trying to satisfy this.
So you understand that any fines go to the state, they don't go to you're not talking about restitution, you're not going to a fine?
Yep.
Okay, so the minimum is $1,500. The maximum on a first-time offense is $5,000.
Or what I was trying to say, probation, that he get that job done. If not, it comes back in front of us, it goes to 7,000.
Well, if you put him on probation and he comes back before you guys, you could take action at that time.
Because I figured he needs the $1,500 to finish the job.
That's exactly what I was thinking. He's going to need the money. I don't want to take it from him now.
See what he's got.
I thought that might be where you
I think I have a
lean.
motion here for then 90-day probation with the agreement that when Mr. Hammond finishes the job, then the relief of the probation would relax after the 90 days.
So since we're discussing and you wanted $1,500, you could, unless you are asking for more, you could do a $1,500 fine that is suspended pending a probation period where the job was finished, and then it would automatically, we could.
Okay, I amend that to probation for a year.
All right.
And zero fine at this point?
So I have a motion for a 90-day probation,
I said a year.
a year, 1 year probation with no fine if this is satisfied to the customer. That all of these, anything that is lacking on that job, that get tended to within that year.
Can we do, is this a substitute motion? Is that what we're doing?
He amended his original
Okay,
motion.
you amended it, okay.
But the probation, he would be on that for a year.
For a year.
But in that, in this, he got to get that job tended to within a nice time here. We need to come
I guess we need to come up with a time that he needs to get the job done. We can't give him a year to do it,
That is
because
true.
then that's hurting them
Mr.
more.
Yates. Yeah, 90 days?
90 days.
Okay, make that motion, Mr. Yates.
90 days. Job.
Wait, we have a motion, and there's an amended motion. You're still amending your motion, and
Okay,
y'all are
I'll
just
amend the
clarifying
motion.
it.
Okay.
I'll amend the motion to 90 days and postpone the $1,500 fine as long as he completes the job
30
to the owner's satisfaction.
In 30 days.
I'll second that motion.
So we have a motion and we have a second.
Second.
All in favor of that? Aye.
Aye.
So that
That's
carries.
why, can I?
Yes, we wouldn't clarify. Come on up and let's,
Yes, come council.
he needs to know exactly what he needs to do.
Just want to get back on his business.
Just a little clarification on finishing the job, because I think there's two different agreements going on at this particular property.
Oh, you're good. I just had a quick question, just to make sure. So the original contract price was the list of materials that she gave you guys for us to finish, which would just basically be a incomplete steel building. It would be just window, the lighting fixtures that she's asking for, the garage doors, so on and so forth, everything that she gave us that list on. Those are the items that you're asking that we finish within 90 days to satisfy her, right? Because in order to complete the job, which I could probably still do in 90 days, but there's a lot more of an investment that would have to be paid to us in order to do that, to complete the contract and get her a CO. Because originally, this was just supposed to be a shop.
And she added the studio stuff all to that.
Correct. And that, none of that has been paid for yet.
How
So
much
just-
is that, how much of more of that is showing in the contract change order?
Let me grab my other paperwork real quick. I've got the wrong one.
And is that change order signed with the customer?
Yeah, is that satisfactory?
I did not sign anything.
He is not?
I did not sign up, I did not sign a second contract.
We had an agreement on it, yes, sir. Let me see here. So that second one, I don't mind just completing the first one if that's okay, if they want to, finish the rest of the
At this
stuff.
time, whatever it makes her happy is what you need to be doing.
Okay. I just want to make sure what we need to complete.
Yeah, I agree with that, but it is all in your contract. Now, we're not here to make your contract all correct. I'm making sure that you get correct.
Yes, sir.
All right, then.
You need to ask him if it's a problem, you need to let us know.
That is in that probation, right?
So, yeah, so are you letting her know as a board that she needs to get with Mr. Bearden's office and within the 30-day period to let them know if it's finished? Because if not, you would bring it back before the board?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it's a 90-day probation, but you guys said, I thought you said to the owner, so just, he has a 90 days to get the job done.
That is right.
That's
90
correct.
days to get the job done, but he is on probation for a year.
Okay, all right.
Now, is that reasonable for him? Let him say.
Well, he's
So you just
got to
did.
get an engineer involved for the footers. That may take some time, so.
This is fair. This is fair for that
Get a second
gentleman.
chance.
He knows that he has earned this.
Okay, so,
Right.
and I need Ms. Holland to make sure she has it. You have the 1-year probation with $1,500 is suspended. If he
Once
finishes
he
his
gets it,
probation, he
and
doesn't
she
have to pay the
signs it.
$1,500. And part of the probation is a term that within 90 days that this job is completed to the owner's satisfaction,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
Okay.
That is correct.
Go back and listen.
Ms. White, I'm sorry, or Mr. Chair, I just want to make sure, I didn't have time to bring a court reporter. Is that, or
We do not have a court reporter. Like I told you, we would not have a court reporter.
Correct. But we'll get notice of this in the next couple of days, I'm assuming, or not notice, but we'll get what the board is, what the board is.
You're talking about the order?
Yes.
The order of the board?
We'll get a copy of the order, right?
So after this meeting, we'll prepare that, and I will, I'll have to send that, the board's going to have to vote on it. So, we'll do 90 days from this meeting. Like, you know what it is. Like, it's 90 days from this meeting that he will have to do what we're talking about. But you will have something in writing, because this board's going to have to meet and approve the order that I'm going to draft in. I'm going to have to take all this in, draft the order, and you'll have that time in order. You'll have regular rules of the court in order to appeal any decisions, if that's what you're asking. But if you're wanting to, like, if you're wanting an appellate process, it would be from the time that the order's entered.
That's completely. I just wanted to make sure that it's 90 days from the date the board signs the order.
Well, here's the thing. The board's going to have to re-meet in order to officially approve, motion second, and approve whatever they've done here, and I don't think they're going to be okay with that, and that would change their motion.
So it's 90 days from today.
Hey, counsel, I think that Mr. Hammond, he'll tackle that thing tomorrow morning, and he'll start them 90 days from tomorrow morning.
Understood. I just wanted clarification.
That is clear as bell, Dan.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, then, so that is now tended to for that case. We can now move along
Praise
to
the
the
Lord.
second one. All right, that tended to 2502. We'll move to Mr. Billy, if you would come up for case number 25-03, Crystal Orlando. And then if Miss Crystal Orlando, if you would like to come forward.
Okay, the complaint before you between Crystal Orlando versus Justin Hammond. Ms. Orlando entered into a contract with Mr. Hammond on 12/6/23 to build a single-family dwelling in the amount of $344,500. Mr. Hammond has been paid a sum of $344,500 in addition to a $10,050 loan for AC unit and $1,500 in Lowe's materials. Home is complete and received a CO on 12/19/24, lien placed on the property. So let's see the counts. Count 1, committing mismanagement or misconduct in the practice of contracting that caused financial harm to the customer. Specifically, valid liens have been recorded against the customer's property for supplies or services ordered by the contractor for the customer's job. The contractor has received funds from the customer to pay for supplies or services, and the contractor has not had the liens removed from the property. Okay, Ms. Orlando, when was the lien placed?
On New Year's Eve. I believe it was yes, it was on December 31st, 2024.
Okay, who placed by whom?
Justin Hammond.
Why was it placed?
Because following our issues with Justin, I made a public Facebook post detailing our experience with Justin. And when I did that, 3 days later, I received a notice from Mr. Howell, a cease and desist and an order to remove the post, to pay a $25,000 fee immediately for defamation. And I said no, that I wasn't going to remove the information. It was public information. And I stood behind everything that I said. And he filed a lien against my home for $68,000 and some change. That invoice came on the heels of me speaking with our attorney, and I warned Mr. Hammond for over the period of 3 to 4 months that I was seeking to sue him for misappropriation of our construction funds, deceit. And when I told him, you know, you still haven't paid us back for the money that you borrowed for the air conditioning units, and I had full intention of suing him for those funds that he promised to pay us back in writing. And instead of paying me back, he decided to make it look like I owed him money instead of him just paying me back what he agreed to pay me back. Our attorney, Clayton Atkinson, told me that I needed to go and file charges with the state attorney's office because it was clear that he never intended on paying back the $10,000 that he borrowed from us. And instead of just paying us back, he sent us this invoice. And when I made the post following the invoice, I refused to take it down. And I refused to pay the $25,000 due for defamation. And I challenged him to take me to court if he wanted to sue me for defamation. And so in retaliation, he filed a lien against our home for almost $70,000 of what he claims were change orders that never took place. He charged me for materials that anytime we purchased or selected building materials, I always asked him, you know, tell me what's within budget. And he would tell me, well, we budgeted this for the garage doors. So I went under budget on the garage doors. In the lien, he says I went double on the garage doors. The kitchen cabinets that we originally agreed to were around $17,000, and he came back in the invoice and said that I went over budget, that he only allotted, I think, either $6,000 for cabinets. I should note that the kitchen cabinets that I gave him money for were not purchased. He brought used cabinets to our new build after I paid him for new cabinets, and he admitted that he admitted the company he said he purchased the wrong color from to save money, and he was going to repaint them himself. They said that he never ordered the cabinets from them. The cabinets still had food in the hinges of these new cabinets that I paid for. The windows that were in our house, the windows and doors that we were quoted, he pulled a draw for. And when he did that, he did not order our doors and windows. He disappeared off the job with our $60,000. And we did not get our windows and doors until much, much later when I confronted him about it after he came to me and asked me for final payment. And he said, if you can give me the final payment, I'll be able to, I'll have this knocked out before school starts, which was a month from the date of the final payment. I gave him $55,000, and he disappeared again. And it was just, at that point, we had paid him nearly the entire contract price by July, and our job was not even reasonably finished until December. When the windows came in, he hired somebody to cut in the windows into the metal building, and now every single window in my house, except for one, does not open and close properly. We paid for a separate inspection, a private inspection to be done. And he found numerous issues with my roof. Around every window, there is gaps in the metal. It is rusting where he cut it. Instead of doing the metal building first and installing the windows and then doing the spray foam insulation, he did everything backwards. And I still don't know what he did with the money, but I can confidently say that it was apparent that our money was not going to our job, because anytime a check got written, everybody kind of went away and our materials did not show up. I have since hired people to repair our roof. I have since got a quote to secure all of our windows, because when you walk around the barndominium, you can literally push on the metal around the windows and it knocks all the way around the windows. There's holes in all of the metal around the windows. There's metal that instead of overlapping like this, where it rains, it goes down. His metal is on the outside. It lips up. All the water runs in. The only way to correct our windows is to completely remove the windows, remove the metal siding, trim back in the windows the way they're supposed to be, where the windows are plumb, and because the metal on the exterior of the building is one color, I had to get a quote to replace all of the metal around the exterior of the building, because you can't replace just the sheets around the windows, because you'll get a different color. And so the gentleman said the only way to get our windows the way that they were intended is to remove the windows, remove all of the metal, and cut out the spray foam, because it's no longer attached to the metal. It's just floating behind the metal. And he said essentially we would have to rip all of the metal off the exterior of our home, take out all of the spray foam insulation, take off the drywall on the inside where we would have to cut in the windows. Roughly $30,000 worth of damage to my house, because instead of ordering the windows when we paid him to order the windows, he waited until, I guess, a different job paid him for the windows. I don't know. What I do know, and I can confidently say here, is that he does not have the money to do these jobs. He has dug himself a hole, and instead of using people's funds to do their build, I'm sorry, I know of vacations this man has taken, the $150 shoes that he wears on his feet, the $100 a session softball lessons that he pays for his son, the $500, $600, $700 baseball bats that he pays for. I wholeheartedly believe that this is somebody who gets a lot of money and probably gets excited, and he spends what does not belong to him. It is for our homes. And I wholeheartedly believe that he poached my husband and I for our money, because when I first met with Justin, the only thing we wanted to hire Justin for was to put up a steel building. We asked for a quote to put up the steel building, and when he found out that we had cash on hand, I absolutely believe that he got at least $60,000 out of us before he ever even filed for a permit. So there's a lot to unpack here, a lot, and I don't want to waste anyone's time, but I absolutely feel that putting the lien on my house out of punishment and retaliation, I don't know if he was trying to double down to the subcontractors who have come forward and told us that they never received payment for our jobs. And the only reason why these people have not placed liens on our home is because my husband and I were there with them, alongside with them, when they were working, and we took care of them. That is the only reason why liens have not been placed on our home. So for him to retaliate like that, I don't know if he was trying to show these people, look, they do owe me this money and this is why I haven't paid you. I don't know if it's punishment for refusing to cower to his attorney's threat to sue me for defamation. I don't know what it is, but I know that it's a gross abuse of power. Nobody should be able to do that. If you owe someone money, by all means, I have paid this man every penny he has asked for. Every time he came to me and asked for a payment, he received that check that day. $344.
And released, the lien has not been released, is that true?
Ms. Orlando, did you receive notice that you were going to have a lien placed on your property?
I did 2 weeks before.
With the
Sorry,
complete
10
accounting?
days. Excuse me?
With a complete accounting?
I'm not sure what you mean, sir.
What was due?
This is notice of hereby lien from Justin in the amount of $68,884.80, to which his attorney, I should note, Justin stood fast on that he did not owe us the money that he borrowed for the
For that accounting, that's all it has is $68,000. It doesn't break that out.
No, it's for the $68,000, but then his attorney later came back and said, okay, well, how about you let Justin finish the job, do it right? Because they say we had our CO, so the job was finished. It was not. It was not. And it's still not. And his attorney came back later and said that he would come back and make it right with the job so long as we agreed to pay him $58,884.
So minus the 10 he owed you.
Yes, so he filed the lien for $68,000, but then later came back with his attorney and said, okay, well, now we're going to acknowledge, being as you have it in an email from him, that he did borrow this money, so now we'll take that off. And he'll come back and make it right as long as you pay him an additional $58,000. He's lost his mind if he thinks I am paying him another penny when I paid everything that was owed to that man. Plus then some. I've had to pay over $4,000 to fix our roof, and that was a favor. My daughter actually texted me while I'm sitting here and said, the rain is dripping down onto the stove. Around the windows, like I said, it is completely open. There's nothing stopping anything from getting in. Our plumbing is a joke. Every bit of the plumbing, I was told, needs to be redone. And there was never a licensed plumber on our job. I did not find that out until we had our inspection, and our inspector stated, it looks like Uncle Joe ran your plumbing for a case of beer and he had already drank one. Our plumbing is so bad, there is no water pressure in our kitchen sink, the one place where you need it. So yes, there was never a licensed plumber on our job. It wasn't until all of this happened and our inspector said, I looked everywhere for a plumber on your job and I couldn't find one. Well, then we called the county and they said that a man by the name of Johnny Sparks had pulled our plumbing permits, but when I called him, he said, oh, I pulled the permits, but I never heard back from him, so I never came. So whoever did our plumbing on our job, which is his brother-in-law, is not a licensed plumber to the best of my knowledge. Our toilet was in our shower at one point, and they had to chip the concrete out to move that, and that was not a licensed plumber that did that. We had
3 different electricians work on our job. There are many outlets that are covered and we cannot recover them because the first person that came and worked on our job, Don Adams, was not paid for his services to complete. He came and did a rough-in, and he made a phone call to us and told us that he was holding 3 vehicles of Justin's hostage until he paid him because he had not paid him for the job. And I contacted Justin, and he said, I swear, I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to take care of it. And I said, if somebody places a lien on my house, I'm taking you to court. It wasn't until later I got advised by several attorneys not to sue Justin because there are several outstanding lawsuits in which he's not paying on any of them. And he won't. It is essentially an IOU in the system. And if I were to sue him properly, which I fully intended to do, you could not press criminal charges against him for stealing your money. So I didn't. So I have now went this route. Do I think I'll get my money back? No. But what I would hope to see is that nobody else signs into a contract with this person who is that irresponsible with that kind of money. That is life-changing money. And he has no respect. He will shake your hand. He has shook my hand and lied to my face. Yes, ma'am, I ordered those materials. They're on the way. They're coming this day. They're coming that day. They don't come. And it isn't until you railroad him into a corner with the evidence that he has run off with your money that there's, oh, well, my bank account got frozen. I had money stolen from my account. I got to wait to get it back. It's, well, my contractors got deported. I fell on hard times, you know, my own personal finances. It is one thing after the next. And as a woman who has ran a business for 18 years, I have a spa in Miramar Beach that I have been running with integrity for 18 years. There has been times when I did not get paid because I had other obligations. This man takes the entire Little League team to Oahu for his son's birthday. He's going and doing this. He's going on a vacation in Texas. He does not have respect for people's money or people's time. And if I have to set that $10,000 on fire and I have to pay somebody $30,000 to fix my house, that's what I'm prepared to do. But what we can recover from this, my husband and I, we can recover from this. There are people out there that aren't going to be able to recover from that. And I can't rest on that. I cannot just shut my mouth and let this ride. So that's why I'm here. And I'm sorry to be long-winded. It's just, it's shameful to do that to people. And while I know he's going through his own things, he brought those things on himself. We are going through these things that he brought upon us.
Well, we thank you there, Ms. Orlando, for bringing that and bringing us all the information that you just brought before the board. We appreciate that. Do I have anybody here on the board that have any questions for Ms. Orlando then? I do. Yes. Go ahead then, please.
Ms. Orlando, in December of '23, and according to your complaint summary, you paid Mr. Hammond $344,500. Is that correct?
We had paid that by July.
Okay. And then in addition, he wanted to borrow $10,050 for 8 air conditioning units?
It was, what is your question? I'm sorry.
I was just wondering what the $10,050 was due when you paid the full contract price.
Because we were due to order our AC units to move into our house. And the AC company, Nowling Heating and Air, had come and done a rough-in, but he had not ordered our units. So Chase reached out and said, I'm trying to reach Justin to order your AC units. And I said, he probably doesn't have the money. And I asked Justin, do you have the money for our AC units? And he said, yes, ma'am, I've got it. I got it. No worries. I'm going to get them ordered. Well, weeks go by. That doesn't happen. So then I went to him again. I said, Justin, if you don't have the money, you need to speak up. I want to be done with this man. I will pay for the AC units under the agreement that you pay me back, and I want it in writing. And he said, if you did, how long would I have to pay you back? I said, I want it done in 2 weeks. I want my money back in 2 weeks. And I want it in writing. And so he sent me that email, and I've put it in there. And he said, I'll pay you back. And he said, I understand. I have 14 days to pay you back. 14 days came and went. 15, 16 days came and went. And I said, Justin, you need to give me the money back. I'm going to take care of it. I'm waiting on a check to clear my bank. You're waiting on someone else's money to pay me. Okay. Then the 21 days later, a month later, and I'm getting heated at this point. I've agreed to loan you this money. You're supposed to give it back. Well, then a month and a half or a month and a week went by, and that's when I had just had enough. I said, that's it. I'm going to have Clay sue you. I am done dealing with you. I've had my more than a belly full. And that's when, instead of paying me back, he sends me the invoice for $68,000.
Okay.
And that's when I still called Clay, and I said, this fella's just sent me an invoice for $68,000. And he said, don't. He said, go file a report with the state attorney's office. He never intended to pay you back that $10,000. Now he's just trying to make it look like you owe him money. So you can't sue him, because if you take him to court and you say, well, he owes me $10,050, and he says, well, she owes me $68,000. I mean, I'm going to spend that in legal fees. I'm going to spend my $10,000 in legal fees just trying to get an IOU. I don't think so. You can just, it's a wash.
So at this date, you have not been paid the $10,000?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So you have basically paid for your AC units twice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did he give you any partial lien releases?
No. No.
During the entire job?
Ever.
Anybody else any questions on the board here for Mr. Orlando?
We have account 2, we need to reference also.
But also,
this one here.
I was going to say, and we also have counsel who may want to cross-examine the witness first, just to keep it clean.
Count 2, committing fraud or deceit in the practice of contracting. And ask Ms. Orlando to elaborate on how he was deceitful. She may have already done that. Okay.
I believe, yeah. She proved that point.
Anything else you want to say?
I guess I should let y'all know too, because you are over the building department, that we did receive our CO without the necessary stickers to receive our CO. We received our CO on a Friday, and that Monday morning as I was leaving, the termite and pest control company pulled into my driveway, and he said, I'm here to stick your sticker on the box even though I haven't been paid for it. He's one of 12 subcontractors that have come forward and with those same complaints that they have not been paid for their services at our home. And when he went to the box, he kind of came unglued, and he said, you shouldn't even how did you get your CO sticker? And I said, they came and put it on there. And he said, you're not supposed to have it without this sticker. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do, what to say there. And yeah, there wasn't a licensed roofer on our job either. We found that out. The person that did our roof was hired by Mr. Hammond to do our roof, and he is not a licensed roofer. So the repairs that have been done to my roof, because obviously I want to secure our home, that gentleman came out, and after we received the inspection report done by our private inspection, and he was the one that found all the discrepancies in the roof. And
Did you send the private inspection to Mr. Heyman? Has he seen it?
yes,
Okay.
he and his attorney are both in receipt of that.
What type of roof do you have on your house?
A metal roof with closed cell insulation underneath. And so yes, those repairs have mostly been made. I wasn't aware until we were sitting here that the roof stack is still leaking. So unfortunately, with closed cell insulation, if there is a leak in the roof, it comes out where it can come out. So I'm hoping that it's coming from the roof stack, because that was one of the discrepancies in the inspection report, where it was just lifted up all over the place, and there was water getting in there. So I actually texted him while I was sitting here, and he said he will be out tomorrow to check out the roof stack and see if that's possibly where the water is coming from.
Billy, was there a roof permit pulled?
I don't know, off the top of my head. You know, George, plays a roof permit for it? Okay. I mean, he wouldn't have got the inspection without the permit being pulled, so who pulled them, I don't have a clue, okay?
Who did the work?
Yeah.
Who pulled the permit and who did the work is
Well,
two
the
totally
licensed
different
person that pulled
people.
the permit is responsible for it, whoever did the work.
And that's what the
So-
plumber said when I spoke with him. He said, what's the issues? I said, well, we have a broken toilet. We have, all of our sinks are plumbed incorrectly underneath. They look crazy. I mean, it's all flex pipe underneath there. The water, like I said, the water pressure in the sink is a joke in the kitchen sink. I mean, it comes out, but there's no pressure at all. So, yeah, when I spoke to the gentleman that said he did pull the permits, that Justin did ask him to pull the permits, he said, well, I'm responsible for it, so I need to talk to him. And he was hot. And I've talked to him since then, and he says, well, he told me that, he was going to take care of it, and if I'm going to have to come and fix it, somebody's going to have to pay for it. And I said, well, I've already paid for it.
You're talking about the roofer?
The person that did the plumbing.
Oh, the
No, the
plumbing, okay.
roofer, it was actually split up between several people. I saw the first people that were putting together the metal building, the steel beams. The first people that were putting those together was his brother-in-law and 3 other people, and then they left. And then it was a group of, we call them amigos, came and did the roof, and they didn't do a good job. There was tons of screws missing in our roof. There was metal missing off the backside of our porch where it met the building. And from the ground, you couldn't see it, but he climbed up there, so I know he could see it. There was about an 8-inch gap of metal missing, so they cut the metal short. And instead of covering it, any driving wind was getting all of that soaked, and there's, rot. Up there. There was rows of screws missing off. There was metal missing off. The whole ridge cap across the top of the roof was supposed to have some sort of foam blocking that was not underneath there. Essentially, the spray foam was exposed under the roof pitch, or under the piece of metal that covers the top of your roof. So we've paid to have those things repaired since then.
How much money do you think you've paid, besides the $10,000, paying twice, but how much money do you think you've paid to have things repaired?
So far, $15,000. He's not going to pay it. He does not have it.
I wonder how many more people in the 6-week period how many more?
There's a lot. I had people reaching after the Facebook post. It was an overwhelming number, and that was honestly the encouragement to move forward with this, because I'm a very much forgive and just move forward and just try to get things taken care of. And when there's people reaching out who cannot afford to take any legal action against this man, or they would spend as much money in attorney's fees to get a little IOU filed in the court system, it's not worth it to them for them to go after it. Our electrician, our final electrician, is owed $20,000 on our job. And he said, Crystal, I will spend that or close to that trying to sue him for the money that he owes me. And then all I'm going to get is a little IOU filed in the system. But because this man has no assets, he has no money, he has nothing to show for the hundreds of thousands of dollars that has went through his hands. You cannot sue him for anything. And like I said, he's got several lawsuits that he's not paying on now. So, and that was from an attorney that went after him through the Okaloosa County building department. And he said, I can't rightfully encourage you to sue him either, because I have already sued him, and this man has come to my office and told me, I will bring you money, I will pay the victims, and he does not pay it. And you can't do anything to him. So it's got to come to a stop somewhere. And that's what I'm hoping to see done. Number one, I would like to see the lien removed off my house. That was retaliation and abuse of power. And I would like to see no more people signing contracts with this man, because I know that he has dug himself such a hole that he's going to need the next job and the next job and the next job to get him to take care of these ones before. And everybody can say that he robbed Peter to pay Paul, but Paul has not been paid. So tell me tell me how that works out. It doesn't. So I'm ready for any questions Mr. Howell might have.
Hey, thanks again, Board. I'm sorry, is it Ms. Maresca or Ms. Orlando?
Legally, Orlando. I am married, but I haven't changed my name legally. As you know, it's a lot of paperwork.
So just, I'll call you Ms. Maresca. Ms.
You can
Orlando, I'm
call
sorry.
me whatever you'd like.
Sorry.
No worries.
Ms. Orlando, just I'll try and quickly go through some of these questions, some statements you made. So the contract price I'm looking at is $340,450. Is that correct?
Yes.
Was there anything additional in this contract that wasn't included in the price?
Yes, there was. It was the upstairs room that was quoted by his subcontractor.
Okay, and how much was that?
$2,500.
Okay, and what about interior paint?
Interior paint was supposed to be in the budget when he convinced me to split our metal between two building manufacturers. Very soon after signing our agreement, he came to me and said our contract includes $100,000 for the building. I think that we could knock it down to about $70,000, $75,000 if we split it between metal manufacturers. And if we do that, then we can include paint. Well, he split it between two building manufacturers, and we saved roughly $28,000. And he said the $11,000, he said that'll cover that. I can get somebody to paint it for maybe 10, 8 to 10.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
What about water service to the property? Was that included in the contract?
That was a trade for us doing all the grade work. He did not have the money to bring in soil. He did not have the money to pay for the grade work. So right there at the end, we decided to pay for that ourselves. I forgot that whenever you guys were asking how much we have paid on top of that. I forgot to include that. We paid over $5,000 for land work.
I'm sorry, Counselor, what was your question? I couldn't hear it.
Yes, sir.
Was water service included?
I was asking her what items were not included in the price, and water service to the property was what I asked her.
Yeah, I know his invoice that he sent me, that they trenched in water access to the yard that was not included in the contract price. And I like how he just forgot that we paid for all the grade work to be done at the property, including all of the erosion control. We brought in roughly 5 trucks of soil and had it professionally graded.
Just a couple more questions on what was not included. Sorry. Power service to the property?
Power service to the property was done by us.
Okay. And then what about
FPL.
Okay. And then what about kitchen and laundry appliances?
Kitchen and laundry appliances were purchased and installed by us.
Okay. Ms. Orlando, you stated that you paid, the contract was for $344,500, is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that you paid $344,500, is that correct?
If you add up all the things that we paid for it, yes, but we technically paid $342,500. What was it?
Yes.
It was about $2,000 less than the full contract price, because we had to pay for materials, $1,500 worth of materials, the $5,000 worth of land work. What else did we have to pay for that he did not have the money for? Because we just wanted to complete our job.
So Ms. Orlando, so the question is, the contract that I'm looking at was for $344,500.
Mm-hmm.
Did you pay Hammond Contracting $344,500?
We did not pay him $344,500.
Okay. Do you understood? Do you know the amount of money that you did pay Hammond Contracting?
Yes.
Okay. What's that total? And a ballpark is fine if you have it handy.
It was close to $343,000. So roughly a little over $1,000 less than what was the contract price.
Okay, and you have proof of all of those payments?
Yes, and you do too.
Well, I don't have them with me.
Oh, okay.
And they wasn't filed with. They wasn't filed with the complaint, and I didn't see it in the packet. So
well, the deputy that took who initially is investigating our problem with Mr. Hammond, I sent the building department his full file. He was able to, he has every text message, every check, and that was forwarded to the building department for their printing. I'm not sure if they did that, but that came directly from Trenton Van Cleve, who is an investigator with the Walton County Sheriff's Department. So he consolidated all of that into a nice little convenient file for me, because I had my whole kitchen table with all of the things. So
I'm sorry, what's his name again?
Trenton Van Cleve. He is an investigator.
Okay, so on that particular case, are you the victim in that case?
Yes.
Okay, has that case been, is that case, I don't do a lot of criminal defense. Have they arrested Mr. Hammond on the case that you're referring to now?
No.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Orlando, did you get a CO on your property?
Yes.
Okay.
I got a sticker. I never got I believe we're supposed to get a certificate or some kind of literature.
Yeah. Does Mr. Hammond have the power to issue a CO?
I wouldn't know that.
Who issued your CO?
The building department.
Was it Walton County?
Yes.
Okay, so it wasn't Mr. Hammond, is that correct?
He's the one that called for the CO inspection.
Correct, but
yes,
he didn't approve it, the county did, is that correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
That'd be a question for them.
Understood. You said you had to hire people to repair your roof, is that correct?
Yes.
And how much did you pay them?
$4,400.
Okay, and then hire people to fix windows?
I have not hired them. They want $30,000 to replace, to pull out the windows, to frame them to where they are plumb and they are able to open and close properly, and where the metal is not, there's gaps this big around all the windows and the corners. And like I said, all of the metal is loose around the windows. You can just knock it, because he hired somebody to cut the windows in, and because the tool that they cut the metal with, because he had spray foam done before the windows were there, putting the cart before the horse, they had to come in and cut the metal. And now, because of the material or the tool that they used to cut the metal with, all that metal around the window is beginning to rust.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Orlando, I just want to, I've got some notes here. I just want to get some of this stuff on the record, maybe off, I guess it's going to be on the record.
Yeah.
You said that $150 shoes and $200 bats. Is that, have you seen his accounting of those things?
Yes, he posted them for sale when all of this came about.
Okay, so he posted for sale, because earlier you said he's wearing $150 shoes.
Not today, no, but I've
Okay.
seen him on my job site, and my husband noted, these are really nice shoes. Those are Brooks. And he got his shoes dirty on our job, and the very next day, I believe he was at the ball field with a brand new pair on his feet.
Okay. Earlier you said that y'all took care of the subs. Which subs didn't get paid?
Anderson Pest Control arrived at December 17th and told us that they had not been paid for the termite protection. Excel Electric is owed roughly $20,000. Jeffrey.
Can I, as you ask these, can I, well, I'm sorry. You go ahead. I apologize.
Jeffrey Flores contacted us on December 18th and said that all the drywall that he had done, he was owed to be paid for, and Justin said that he would pay him when we got our CO inspection, and that did not happen. Victor Morales is owed roughly $30,000 for the metal work that he did on our house. He is one of the amigos, and he has not received payment. Hub City Glass reached out to us on December 31st and said they were still owed $3,000 for glass in our showers. Charles Taunton, he is a pressure washing business, and on December 26th, he reached out to us and said he had not been paid for the rinse that was done on our house. Our house was supposed to be pressure washed, the sidewalks and everything, and he was told that he would not only receive payment for our job, but for another job that he had done and not been paid for by Justin.
Ms. Orlando, can I ask you a question? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Just if there's 10 more, that's fine. If there's 2 more. But so my question is have any of these subs placed a lien on your property?
No.
Have you paid any of these subs personally?
No.
Okay. Ms. Orlando, let me ask you about the inspection that you mentioned. Yes. What was the date? You got your own, because me and you talked a few times. One time you hung up on me, but that's fine.
And I called you back to apologize, because I said, it's not your fault that you're doing your job, and I'm just not supposed to talk to you. I was told by my attorney not to talk to you.
That's fine.
But yes. I did apologize. I apologized for hanging up.
I don't remember, but thank you.
I did. I called back and I said, I'm sorry I hung up on you.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it. I'm sure you did. If you did, I thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. Orlando, back to the inspection. You said you got your own inspection done on your property. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. When?
The day after Christmas. It was December 26th.
Okay. Of 24?
Yes. 24.
Okay. And then, do you recall sharing that inspection with me?
I do.
Okay. Do you recall, you may not recall this, I shared it with my client. Do you recall me trying to say, Miss Orlando, can we come out there and fix all of these issues? You remember that?
To the tune of $58,000. I do remember that.
Ms. Orlando, so are you saying the inspection you have says $58,000 on it?
No.
Okay, so where's that number coming from?
That's what you said that I would have to pay him if he were to come out and make it right.
Ms. Orlando, here's my question again. You had an inspection done the day after Christmas.
Yes.
You and I talked. I asked, when can my client come out there to fix these things? And what did you tell me?
That is not, that you didn't say that the first time that we talked. The first time that we talked was you asking me to take down the Facebook post. That was the very first time I ever heard from you. It was you ordering me to pay him $25,000 due immediately for defamation. I needed to remove the Facebook post a public apology to your client, admitting that I had lied about our experience, and I essentially told you that wasn't going to happen. And it was...
Sorry. So back to the question, sorry.
Then,
okay, go ahead.
it was later, when was it? Let's pull it up. That you reached out to me and said to allow your client to come out and address the issues. And I need can I get my phone? Do you mind? I believe your question was to me that, is this your punch list? And if so, here we go. On January 8th, per our conversation, I inquired of the inspection report you sent to my client was a punch list, and you answered no. I would respectfully request that you send a punch list to me and or my client by the end of the day, Friday, January 10th, so that a time can be scheduled to view the items on your punch list. From my email sent to you on Monday, January 6th, please note that if the punch list is not received by the end of the day, Friday, January 10th, my client will assume that there is no punch list and or items that are in need of review or repair. If a response is not received by the end of the day, Friday, January 10th, then a demand for mediation pursuant to section 12.4 of the contract will be sent to you at that time. That was January 9th.
Okay, so regarding the punch list, did you send me a punch list?
That's not a punch list, hon. That is a full, detailed report of the issues within my house. I think we can safely say that is not a punch list.
Okay, let's just...
$30,000, sorry, $40,000 worth of repairs is not a punch list.
Miss Orlando,
The only reason that you gave that Justin would be completing the punch list is if I pay you. I believe you said to me, and I can pull it up in the other email that you said, if my client does come out and complete these issues, he is doing so under the agreement that, or you are allowing him to do so under the agreement that you will then pay him the $58,884.
Miss Orlando, regardless if it's a punch list or a checklist or an inspection or whatever kind of list, did you ever allow my client to come back on your property to address these issues?
No.
Thank you. Miss Orlando, let's talk about the Johnny Sparks. Who is Johnny? Is that a guy or is that an actual name of a plumbing company? Miss Orlando? I'm sorry. Or Mr. Fresco?
No. I don't know who Johnny Sparks is. He apparently pulled the plumbing permits.
Okay, so you don't know.
He owns a plumbing company.
Okay, so you don't know if I don't know if he's a person or a plumbing company either. What is he, Justin? He's a plumber. Okay, so you know if Mr. Sparks is, do you know if Johnny Sparks is a licensed plumber?
No.
Okay.
But I'm assuming he is if he was able to pay to pull the permits. I would hope.
So he did pull
would.
permits?
That's what the building department told me, is that he pulled the permits. But the gentleman told me, yes, I pulled the permits, but I never heard anything back. I believe he was paid to pull the permits, and then he paid somebody hourly, his brother-in-law, to run all the plumbing. Horribly, might I add. But
Ms. Orlando, earlier you was unsure if a licensed roofer visited your property. Is that correct?
yes, due to the state of the roof.
Okay. Do you know if my client is a licensed roofer?
I don't know those things.
Okay. Well, for the record, he is.
Okay.
Just for the record.
So yes, he approved my roof the way that it was.
Well, again, let's just talk about the CO one more time. All these things had to get inspected and approved by Walton County, correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
I would hope so. I would hope that they were inspected properly. I would hope. I don't know. I'm not a contractor.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. I am not either, Ms. Orlando. I may have more questions for a little later, but none right now. So. I'm sorry, thanks.
Mr. Bailey, while you're getting your mic queued up, I just wanted to, just for you, all of your sakes, the exhibit, the packet that you have there, any of the things that you've referred to, if there's anything you've relied on to make, I'd just like to make sure that's moved into evidence and that you all give both sides an opportunity to look at it. If it's something that you're basing your decision on, I just want to make sure that you put that on the record for me or add that exhibit to the record.
All righty, so that exhibit that was used right there, we have that now put onto the record by Ms. Frankie. Do I have any other questions then for Ms. Orlando?
I have one for council, actually.
All right, then.
So just
Council, could I get you to come back up?
I guess it is kind of for both of you. Just to recap, so we're all on the same page here. Christmas time, you got your CO, right?
December 3rd.
December 30th.
December 13th.
Okay.
December 13th.
And prior to that, you'd already had the private inspection, correct?
The private inspection was performed on December 26th.
Okay. So once that list was sent to council, you are stating that your client asked if he could fix it, but this was after he already asked her for $58,000. $68,000.
Mr. Holmes, the dates I'm not fully aware of. I can look at the record or what we have to maybe answer those questions, or Mr. Hammond can.
Mr. Hammond?
I guess let me say this. I think the lien was recorded December 31st, 2024.
And you wanted a punch list on January 10th to get things done. That your client would come back and get things done. So I'm just confused on why he would put a lien and then say he'd come back and do it. Why not just not put the lien and say he'd come back and do it?
Again, I'd have to look at the.
I'll just address the question to Mr. Hammond. Why did you do that?
Could you go through that one more time?
Mr. Hammond, if you would come up to the front to the mic, please. Come on up to the mic.
I understand the question, sorry.
So if I'm understanding correctly, the lien was placed before you said you would come back and knock out the private inspection complaints.
So we didn't know about the private inspection at the time. So we sent over our invoice for items that were completed on the project that were never paid for. And we were basically comparing that to the $10,000 worth of air conditioner. So basically, in my mind, we were saying that we need the $68,000 minus the $10,000, which was $58,000, for items that were completed in the home that were not in the original contract.
And what were those items?
I think he's got that. Sorry, can you give me just one second?
Yeah.
And before we move forward, I do have proof of some of these conversations that are on my fabricated invoice that clearly contradict what's in my invoice.
So Am I still?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So in our original estimate, when we sent our estimate over to the customer, it states on here that we will, sorry, hold on just a second. I got to find the right page here, or the right part here. So we're building a turnkey build on a customer's property. Home plans attached serve as Exhibit B. Articles of construction assessment will serve as Exhibit A. Cost of construction. So we were going to build a 4,740 square feet under roof steel building home turnkey with standard equipment. And standard equipment would mean basically a white toilet, standard equipment that you can purchase from Lowe's, very common items that you can come up with no issue. Once we got into the project, we were told that we were going to order custom cabinets, custom faucets. We got like $8,000 just in bathroom faucets. We did have some issues along the way with some of the ways that the draws on the job lined up with the way that we were ordering materials. So it took us a little longer to order the materials than what we had wanted to do. So that was a major issue throughout the project, trying to make things line up with the draw schedule, plus the finances of the project and trying to keep what they wanted. And in doing that, basically, we were told in the project, I don't want to go too long, we were basically told, like, if we didn't do these items, that we were going to basically get sued. Like, it was a constant threat of lawsuit the entire time we were on the project.
Okay, so in total, you have a list of what you would say is $58,000 worth of stuff that was not paid for, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And some of those items that we actually have listed in the paperwork that we were not supposed to do that we wound up doing and never got paid for. One of those items would be an entire second floor in the building that's not even in the original plans. It's an entire second floor bedroom, drywall, insulation, air conditioning, power, flooring, an entire second floor room, fairly decent sized room. And there's no way we could have accomplished that for $2,500.
How many subcontractors is left out there that you ain't paid for this job?
So this job, everything that was mentioned that I know of, so the electrician, the reason that he hasn't been paid is because he cost us about $46,000 on another project. So we're actually in the process of dealing with that now. That's why we held a check for him. Every other sub that I heard that was mentioned has been paid, except for the glass company. I just found out about the glass company last week. They reached out to me, and I'm actually in the process of taking care of that Monday.
All of these additions and change orders, did you have them signed?
No, sir.
Mr. Hammonds, is Scott's Pest Service straightened up? Anderson
Pest Control? For this particular project, they are, yes, sir.
Is it any more confusion? Because he come to me about a confusion.
On this job?
I don't know the project. That's why I ask you that.
Yes, sir. No, this job. So basically, we got told.
His name was mentioned in this one. That's why I asked you, was it settled?
No, that's fine. So I actually talked to him about this project because he told us that he had not got paid. That's why he couldn't turn in the paperwork for the CO for this job. So we had to pay him in order to get that paperwork for him to send over for CO for this customer.
Okay. What about Mr. Adam, the electrician?
Mr. who? Don Adams? Don Adams has been paid 100% in full. I did have an issue with him because we got one price for the job, and then mid-project we got the price changed on us, and him and I had a falling out, but he has been paid every dime that he was offered to be paid on this job.
Okay.
In full, and he'll come tell you that.
May I? Our granite company reached out to us today and told us that they still have not been paid for the countertops in our house either. And he could not be here today.
I got to double check over which project is which on that one because I didn't know
He's
about that one.
fully aware.
But you filed a lien without any change orders, without any accounting for that lien.
We did send an accounting over for what was.
But you have no change orders for that accounting. It's just what you said that's the cost is. So you have no signed change orders for those things. If your lien is off by $1, it's a fraudulent lien. You have to prove everything on that lien when you file one. You can't just throw a number out there and say, hey, this is what it should be. You have to have signed change orders. You have to prove every penny that you have claimed on that lien, every penny. And if you're off, it's a fraudulent lien.
That change order is binding to that contract. That is what explains to each one of these customers what is going to be the change there. That is very important to have a customer sign these things, and that protects both parties.
It does. And
Do I have any other questions for Justin while we have him here, or for Mrs. Orlando from the board?
Just the same way I asked you the first one, what's your response to all of it, to this in the case right now? What's the reason we're here right now? In your eyes.
Project taking too long. I think it's the same basic thing as before.
That answer for the first one.
That's why I wanted to hear it.
That's his truth.
Yes, sir.
I appreciated when you walked up here and told me the truth on that a while ago on that young man and that young lady back there.
I think
and this is the same thing. You've overrun your bounds on trying to build the thing, got yourself bogged down, and now it is hurting people.
Yes, sir.
And that is what we're here to do, is not let you hurt people.
Yes, sir. I understand.
Thank
and I
you.
apologize to anybody that.
It sounds like there's a lot of commingling of funds here.
Yep.
A lot.
And for the
I
record,
mean, astronomical.
and for the record, Mr. Justin, we are aware that people have different sides of the story. But as a professional guy, I look for you to be the mediator, like she talked about. She was the bigger person. That's what I expect you to be.
That's what you
When
got
the
to
problem,
the contract.
when the problem comes, I'll eat that one. Because I want to satisfy her and her neighbor next door. See, that's my attitude. If it costs me money, I want her to leave happy.
Is there a reason that you didn't bond out the lien?
Sorry, say
Place a
that.
bond for the amount of the lien?
No, sir. I didn't know that we needed to place a bond in there. I apologize.
This is just a retaliatory act because
I think it was a two-part. Oh, yeah. I think it was a two-part. I think that there was a lot of people, the last phone call that I had with him, he was very solemn. And he said to me, Crystal, I don't know when I can pay you the money back. I got $17 to my name. And I said, Justin, I want to believe you, but I cannot let this keep going. The next time you hear from me, it'll be from Clay. I'm not going to deal with this. And he said, I don't know what you want me to do. I said, if you tell somebody I'm going to do something, you do it. You're either a person or your word, or you're nothing. And that's whenever I hung up, and 2 hours later I had that invoice, and I was shocked. But then Clay explained it to me. He said, honey, don't sweat it. This is just him trying to show you that he don't owe you money, and now it makes it look like you owe him money. So if you do try to sue him, you're going to have a hard time. But I said, okay, well, what do I do? And he says, well, I can, file a contested lien and this and that. But then the Facebook post came up, and yes, I received the cease and desist threatening me with everything under the sun, that they were going to sue me, and that I owed him $25,000 in 4 days.
And when was that again? I'm sorry. When was the
cease and desist? 2 days after the Facebook post by Mr. Howell. Do you have a copy of that, Mr. Howell?
It's in our pack.
Okay, so that's accurate. The cease and desist showed up that day, and I essentially told his attorney, I don't hold it against you, don't know who you're working with, but I'm not going to be quiet. People need to know this, because when I met this man, he presented himself as the president of the Little League Association, and he's just all in it for the kids, and it's a small town. You think people would be a person of their word, and I did. I took it at face value. And then it wasn't until the Facebook post that I woke up the next day to an enormous amount of people. The vice president of the Walton County Athletic League, who I'd never met in my life, messaged me and said he stole $13,000 out of our account. We had to remove him from the board. I had countless people countless people messaging me on my Facebook, calling me on my phone, saying that they were all in the same situation. He left our job half done, the work that's due to be done there. By the time we pay to sue him, we could have already paid to complete the job. So they let him go with a lot of this because people will spend more money in court trying to sue him than what they're owed or what they'll ever see.
Well, thank you again, dear, Ms. Orlando. Is there any other questions?
I'm trying to get a judge of character.
There's no remorse. That's the other thing that deeply bothers me.
I'm trying to get a judge on Mr. Heyman's character because the Facebook post was made on the 23rd, and then you sued her, again, or you put a lien on her property after that, correct?
Yeah.
I guess I don't have a question.
It was definitely a little smack on my tail for not removing it. And I wasn't sorry for what I said, and I told him I'd stand up in a court of law and say it again.
Well, thank you again for coming up before the board and letting us know this, Ms. Orlando.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Billy?
I have a question for his counsel again.
Yes, sir.
Did you instruct your client about lien laws and contestive lien?
So I will, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And putting up a bond for the lien, if it's a contestive lien.
So Mr. Hammond and I have consulted on this entire case to include what you're referring to. Yes, sir.
And what was the outcome of that?
That, well, a lien was filed, as we all see. But other than that, you know, the confidential communications that him and I have had will have to stay confidential. And Mr. Holmes, sorry, I just got the packet, and I don't see any Facebook post. I know they were there, but I know you mentioned a date. Are they in your packet?
No, I didn't see any Facebook posts. I'm talking your cease and desist sent on the 23rd about the Facebook post.
The 23rd of
December.
Cease and desist.
Of December?
Yeah, no, that's all I was saying. That's when the cease and desist.
Okay. So yes. So you're right. So
Facebook post happened. Cease and desist was sent.
Yes.
Then lien placed.
Yes. Yep, because lien was 12/30. Yep. So cease and desist. If cease and desist was what date? 12/23.
Yep.
Yes. Then Facebook would have been prior to that.
Right.
Lien 12/31/24, and I don't see the inspection in here, so I have no idea what date that was regarding the punch list, regarding advising my client to go to.
Well, when did you say back to her? That was sometime in January, correct? That you sent back to her. You said you sent back to her that your client would like to come over and finish the punch list.
Well,
correct?
she read something from her phone. I didn't have anything in front of me. I don't know when the inspection was performed. Okay, that's it. Okay, great, thank you.
Are any of you confused why he would sue her over this defamation? Why would he sue her and then put a lien on her property and then say he'd come back and do it? That process seems backwards.
It is backwards because he is bogged down.
But that's not bogged down. That's not bogged down. That's count one. That's misconduct. That's not bogged down is getting busy is getting behind on your daily schedule. He's way farther than behind on his daily schedule. And he's misappropriating funds or misappropriating funds, commingling funds from project to project. I'm sorry, Mr. Hammond, but I'm hard pressed to see your side on this. I read.
Okay, so for clarification, Mr. Holmes, I think, so this inspection was done, it's dated 12/26, okay? This inspection and punch list, if my memory serves me, can be two separate things. We asked for a punch list. We asked if we can come on the property. She said no. She got her own inspection. 4 days later, 4 or 5 days later, we filed a lien.
So you helped him file a lien?
Let me look at the lien. Sorry, thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions for Mr. Orlando? Can I let her go sit down?
I'm good.
I have no further questions.
Mr. Atkinson, I'm sorry, is it Mr. Atkinson?
Dalton.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I see Atkinson. Mr. Dalton, I apologize. I don't know if I helped him file this lien or not, honestly.
But you are aware that every penny has to be accounted for?
I will have to go back to the statute. I mean, you're asking me legal questions. I'm not a, I don't know. I can't answer your question.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, Mr. Billy.
Okay, we're covering accounts. Count 1, commit mismanagement or misconduct in the practice of contracting that cause financial harm to a customer. Specifically, valid liens have been recorded against the customer's property for supplies or services ordered by the contractor for the customer's job. The contractor has received funds from the customer to pay for supplies or services, and the contractor has not had the liens removed from the property. That's count 1. Count 2, committing fraud or deceit in the practice of contracting.
I make a motion that we find Mr. Hammond guilty of count 1.
Have a motion to find Mr. Hammond guilty of count 1.
Second.
That is a second of that motion. All in favor of aye? Aye.
Aye.
That motion is then carried.
And that was a
On
7-0.
count 2.
That was 7-0, correct, Mr. Bailey?
That is correct. And then on count 2, do I have a motion?
I make a motion and we find Mr. Hammond guilty of count 2 as well.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
That's it.
I have a second
I
from Mr.
second.
George Hogan. That all in favor, aye?
Aye.
That is all then
7-0.
same,
Okay.
7-0.
Chairman, I'm going to need a break
Yes.
to go to the
We'll
ladies'
take,
room.
Thank you.
Thank
Now
you.
that we have
Hallelujah.
had that, we'll come back and then go over when we come back over.
All right.
Yeah,
What,
We'll
5
take
minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
where we left off there, if you don't mind, Ms. Rankin.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we are going to the penalty phase of the 2 counts that we have. I just want to make sure on the record that we've talked, the only thing we've added to this record was that 1 packet. He has been given a copy of the packet, so he's aware of what you all were referring to. The first count is, again, 489 1G. So we're going to look at our penalties. And under that, it's on that first page again for this particular offense. So you have these same penalty ranges on this particular item. So we got the $1,500 fine or probation or suspension. So you can find any of those as a minimum. I will say this, just to make sure it's very clear, in our county ordinance, the way that it reads under penalties, when it refers to this section, I think it's important that you all know this. Under the penalty ranges, it says for violations, we refer to this particular chart. But I do want to make sure you're aware that under prohibitions and violations, it says the board may take any of the following actions against a certificate holder or registrant. You can place them on probation or reprimand the license, revoke, suspend, or deny the issuance of a renewal of the license, require financial restitution to a consumer for financial harm related to the violation of provisions of the code, and impose an administrative fee not to exceed $5,000 per violation. So what I would say to that, based on what I've seen from this board, I don't anticipate that any of you would charge him a $5,000 fine for the board. You would rather any monies go to the restitution. That would be an assumption, and you can correct me, but you don't have to at this point. I'm just letting you know that it looks like this chart talks about up to $7,500, but just to be really cautious, I'd probably keep it to the $5,000. I wouldn't go over that for a violation, but again, I don't think that's probably not what you're going to do. So we can look at this chart, but you also, I just want to make sure you understand you have the ability to make restitution. So I didn't want to not make sure you knew that. I want to make sure that there is a restitution that's not listed on this sheet, but it is in the ordinance that governs this board.
When you say restitution now, are we talking about to the victim?
Correct, the consumer, which is, in this case, it would be Ms. Orlando, yes. So if you found, because you have found him guilty, if you were going to award monies or fines or penalties, because it says you can do this or this or this.
Right.
If you didn't want to have a fine and you wanted it instead to do any amount of restitution, that is in the wheelhouse of things you can do. And just from you all may know this, but when Ms. Orlando was testifying, I am your board attorney, so I just want to let you know, she talked about how I won't ever, she alluded to the fact that she would never see the money because he was never going to be able to produce the money. But this board does have the ability to say this is the restitution that was ordered, and if it's appropriate at some later date and we needed a lien, we could file that paperwork. That is in our ordinance. We'd have to do it according to that, and it would be at a later time. So I know Ms. Orlando talked about it like it would never happen, and it may never happen. You never know. I mean, that's how that works. But I want the board to know that what you're doing matters, whatever it is, whether it's $10 and you never see it, it's a lien. So.
Yes, thank you very much for explaining that to the board. Do I have any board member that would like to make a suggestion here?
I'd like to make a motion that we fine Mr. Hammond $5,000 and give him 30 days to pay that. If that doesn't happen, suspend his license.
So I have a motion to charge Mr. Hammond with $5,000, and he has 30 days to pay that fine, or then he has his license suspended.
Correct.
Yeah, I'll
And that restitution would go
To the victim?
to or let Ms.
That's
Plant.
different. So that is not a fine. So just to clarify your motion, If you are requesting a fine to go to someone, that is not a fine, that is restitution. So you have the ability to order restitution to the consumer as part of your motion and not do a fine, if that's what you're saying.
Okay, I will amend my motion to $5,000 restitution, and if it is not paid within 30 days, then suspend.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion, and then we have a second for that. I would also like to add to this of the lien, that this be addressed to be dropped.
Yep.
Yes, if we can. Can we modify that?
That is not something that's in the ordinance or in the statute to order him to do that. Mr. Hogan seconded, and Mr. Bailey, you did not make a substitute motion yet. I think you were asking if you could make a substitute motion in order to do that, and there is no authority that I'm aware of that we could order him to do that.
All righty then. With that being said, then I have a motion that is for $5,000 fine.
A $5,000 restitution paid to the consumer.
Restitution.
Yes, sir.
And then we have 30 days to make that restitution happen.
The $5,000 in restitution.
I have Mr. Hogan that has seconded that.
That's right.
So all in favor of this?
Now,
Hold on, there's more.
suspicion of license if he does not pay that restitution.
And suspension of license if that is restitution is not paid within that 30 days. Is this correct now? Is it the way I could
Yes.
stated that correct? All right. So do I have a second on this motion for this penalty?
I second that.
All right, then, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that is, we're in agreement of $5,000 restitution, and then there's 30 days to pay this restitution.
Correct. And if it's not paid within 30 days, then suspension
Then there
of
is
his license.
suspension of the license.
Correct.
Okay.
This is for Ms. Orlando?
That is on the case number 2503, Crystal Orlando versus Justin Hammond.
And Ms. Orlando would provide proof of payment to Ms. Holland so that she can advise the board so that the payment can be suspended.
Also, then that payment to Ms. Orlando would be provided to Ms. Holland at the Walden County Building Department.
And Mr. Bailey, I believe Ms. Orlando had a question about that. If you want to come, I want you to, yeah, I'm sorry.
So how do we get this lien removed? How would any of you suggest that
We
get
can't
this
give you
lien?
legal advice. About a lien.
That's a legal question.
Yeah, that is a legal question, and
So
we
who
wouldn't advise you.
governs his lien rights?
I think his attorney said that. After he said it must be exact because it wasn't put on properly, according to the contractor.
Are you going to remove the lien?
You need to talk to your attorney about that.
But, so he still has lien rights. Isn't that something that you guys can take from him? He has filed a lien against people falsely. It's not, I'm not the only lien that he's done this.
This board isn't able to, we don't look, that's not part of what we're examining.
I think the message we trying to send, Ms. Orlando, he's got to clean up his act. So if he's not willing to do what's right or wrong, he'll come back before us and we can actually take his license from him.
And Ms. Orlando,
but we want to give every human being a second opportunity.
And I believe that what happened here at this board tonight is going to help satisfy the intent of this. This is what I think.
We believe it's going to be positive. If it's any positives in it, he had every opportunity. You know what I'm
So the
saying?
30,000
We didn't penalize him for one mistake. We didn't penalize him for two mistakes. We gave him an opportunity to clean his act up.
That's a question for your counsel, though. He can handle that.
Yeah, he'll get that. He'll get that too.
Yeah, we need good contractors. Just because you start off on the wrong foot don't mean you end on the wrong foot. We know that. But it's important your right foot goes first.
And very thankful that you brought it up here so we were able to get this started. Because that young man knows better than this thing. And,
Yes.
and this is something that is going to be a very good lesson I promise you this thing.
He's been here before, not before you, though.
No, he is not.
He's been before the Okaloosa County,
Yes. But
and
let me
he
say
didn't learn
this,
that time.
that might help you out, and I heard you talk strongly of it. I got 29 years working in the prison system. I've seen some of the worst turn around for good. Just let him run his course. And I believe in second chance opportunity.
So the $30,000 worth of work that has to be done on my house to secure it is just,
I think what they're saying is these are your first steps. We can't, what you're
Okay.
asking, we can't do, but this is step one for you to get done what you need to get done.
And this has helped you.
I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
this has helped you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And in fact, we're trying to send a positive message. If it's
Yes,
not done right, you're not going to be able to come before this board.
yes, sir.
You got to do it right, and people got to respect it.
Yes,
You, the consumer, spending your money, you want an honest day's work for honest day's pay.
yes.
Okay, we truly understand that. That's all we would want.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Chairman, I got one question. The suspension, is there a time period on that, or?
It was for 30 days.
No, the suspension, so if we do suspend his license, what's going to be the time frame for his suspension?
I would like to amend my motion to suspend his license for a year.
If you don't meet.
So it'd be the same
Do I have a
motion,
second
except for
then
to suspend the license for
to
a
be
year.
added to that. I have a second then for
Do I need
that
to read
Well,
motion.
Mr. Hogan's could amend a second if he's in agreement with that.
Yeah, I'm in the
And
second.
we have the same parties, and then you can repoll the board and ask for a vote, and that'll be
Yeah.
clean.
So we amended second.
And that was for 1 year?
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All righty, so now then, that is taken care of the case number 2503 with Chris.
That was count one.
only count one.
That was
So
count
we gotta do
one.
count two.
We have count two to go.
Oh, Lord bless his heart.
Getting past dinner time.
Yeah, it is. Count two.
And the county thanks you for your service.
All righty then. So on count two, that we had brought before us, do I have anybody that would like to make a motion
I
on
make a
these?
motion, we find Mr. Hammond guilty of count two as well.
He's been found guilty. We're just doing the penalty. So if you
Yeah.
want to make a motion in order.
Before we make a motion, let's kind of discuss what we might want to do about
That
it, so
would be
we don't
great.
have to amend it 4 times. I'm thinking on this one, so Miss Orlando can get her air conditioning money back. We find him the other $5,000 and give him 60 days. Give him 60 days. That way he's not backed up $10,000 in 30 days. Give him 60 days to complete that one. And then if he does not pay that, then he'll have the year suspension.
Well, I make a motion to find him guilty of count two and give him 60 days to pay restitution
Restitution.
of $5,000. And as far as suspension, if he does not pay that, then suspend his license for an additional year for a total of 2 years.
So it would be 1 year consecutive is how we would run that.
That's correct.
So, very good.
I second that.
Okay, so I have a motion then for $5,000 restitution and 60 days to pay this second. And then if not paid, the suspension on count two would run consecutive. That would be for the second year.
That's correct.
So the fines and the suspension are consecutive. So everyone, we agree that it's $10,000. She will give, restitution on a fine. And Ms. Orlando, you would provide that notice to Ms. Holland. Do you understand that? Thank you.
I did the second.
All righty. So now that has, yes, all in favor of the second count? Aye.
Aye.
So that was all board members in favor, Ms. Joy. All right, so now that tends to the count one and count two for Crystal Orlando. And now we have one more of the This is case number 25-04, Ms. Charlene Russian versus Justin Hammond. If Ms. Charlene, if you would like to come up front with Mr. Bailey.
Billy.
Okay, the complaint before you between Charlene Russian and Justin Hammond. Ms. Russian entered into a contract with Mr. Hammond on 4/3/24 to build 2 single-family dwellings to split the sale of the home 50/50. Mr. Hammond has been paid $100,000, $50,000 on 10/25/23, and $50,000 on 11/16/23. No work has been done. Mr. Hammond did pull the permits, but no work's been done.
Mr. Bearden, do you want to move that packet you have into the record that shows those payments?
25-04.
Yes.
Counsel, do you have that copy? Did we give you that? Okay.
Yes,
thank you.
So, the count 1, committing fraud or deceit in the practice of contracting. Now, let Ms. Russian speak from here on how you
Yes,
he was deceitful.
Ms. Russian, if you would tell the board what is
Surely.
going on.
Surely. I thought that my understanding was, number one, we have a contract. He said, well, I don't much like contracts. I like a hug and a handshake. Well, I accepted that since he was a coach for the Little League and a fine Christian man and a fine family. Until I got a letter from one of his lawyers. After he got the $100,000 in 3 weeks, the second check I wrote from Sodalis Assisted Living under sedation with a compound fracture of the ankle, and I had to have assistance because I live alone. I am 84 years old. This is elder abuse, elder whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you call it. He took the money. He was to match my $100,000, and we were going to build 2 houses. I can have those done in 4 months and sold. That was the sales pitch. We were going to split the money. I said, how do you want to split it? He said 70-30. He wanted 30 and I'd take 70. I said, no, 50-50. We'll split 50-50. This will help you. I'll be rid of the 2 lots. My husband passed away. I need to get rid of stuff. So here I am, minus $100,000 out of my elder care account. Yes, that hurts. If I have to, or when I have to go back to assisted living to live, that $100,000 would be a great benefit. I don't plan to do that, but I didn't plan to go there the last time. I could go over almost everything that Miss Orlando just gave you. Almost every one of the things she said, I can say the same thing because he was doing repair on my house. I spent over $100,000. I got the same crappy work that she's got. I didn't come here for that. I came here because I don't want him to hurt another person. He can't keep doing this. I have talked to too many people that because they're Christian, they don't want to fight. The legal system is a craps. You lose more money than you gain. We got to stop this. He's perfecting his crime. It's got to be stopped. got to be stopped, y'all. I have a case with the state's attorney's office for my restitution. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here because I'm asking you as a board to please don't allow this man to keep this up. I cried 3 weeks before I could decide to do this. And I had a good friend say, Charlene, you may have enough money to take care of you as long as you live, but the next person may not. And you need to step forward for the rest of the elderly people. That's why I'm here.
Thank you.
So I spoke with Mr. Howell before this, when we were on the break, and now, you know, there is a criminal investigation. So Mr. Howell's indicated that he would not question the witness and that Mr. Hammond would plead the fifth on any questions about this particular case because there is a criminal case pending. So that will cut short their side of that. So any questions or any comments you may have directed towards him, Mr. Howell, that's correct.
Correct.
And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for coming up before the board and elaborating on what the process that you went through. Sorry that you have went through something like that in the county. Any of the board members have any questions for Ms. Russian?
He needs his license removed. Really does.
Do you have any idea where your money is? Do you have any idea what he might have? Any idea?
When actually my sister drove from Texas twice because she was concerned about my health and what he was doing. Because he didn't do what he said he would do, like match my funds. But he was working on my house, and there were weeks and weeks, and nobody showed up to work. So I didn't want to muddy the water, and it'd take longer for my house to get finished. My sister came the second time, and she asked for Justin to come share with her our discussion. He again looked her in the eye and lied about having a separate checking account for this venture that we were going to do. I knew he hadn't done it because when you open a new account with 2 signatures, you have to have 2 signatures on file. And I had not been asked to sign any cards. So I knew there were no accounts opened. The day before he met with my sister, he got permits. And I informed him that we could not go any further, number 1, because of my health, number 2, because he was taking too long to get stuff done. I couldn't wait till I'm 120 to get those 2 houses built. I do plan to go that far, Mr. Hogan.
I believe you're on the right road. I just hope I can get where you're at.
I meant well. I didn't want to do this, but I really feel convicted in my heart that I have to do it for any other, not just elderly, but maybe people that are poor. And God has blessed me richly, so I'm not hurting you guys, but I don't want anyone else hurt.
Yep.
But again, thank you for coming up, Ms.
And let me say this to you to encourage you. I think you're doing the right thing, and it's got a funny way of a cup spilling over on something.
Yes.
So never give up, but the criminal system will take care of that, trust me.
Okay. Okay.
Ms. Rushing, do you know if he deposited the checks or cashed the checks?
Your bank should be able to tell you.
I believe he, whatever he did the same day I wrote the check. And I don't really know if he took the cash and ran or if he put them in an account. But it was not our account. It wasn't a new account. And that was our agreement. And I was not able to drive, and I was casted, so.
But you check with your bank, the money did come out of your bank account,
Yes,
right?
sir,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's all it takes. They'll track it from there.
The investigator from the state's attorney's office went to the bank, got copies of the checks, and had them notarized.
Yep. And they got video of it. They'll show whoever cashed it or whatever.
Yes, sir.
They got
Yes.
video surveillance of it. So let them work their system, and we'll just stand down on that.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Ms. Rushing. I just have a couple of questions for you. In the complaint, it's noticed as the Wren project, correct?
What?
I have it in attached, it says it's the Wren project.
That's the street.
Oh, Red.
That's the subdivision. It's Wren Drive.
Okay, so now, has any of the work been done on anything that you agreed on?
Not a thing.
Not a thing.
A thing.
Okay, and you agreed to build 2 houses?
Yes, I had 2 lots.
Okay,
So he was going to build a house on each lot.
okay.
And then we were going to keep track of all the records. I, by the way, have not received any record of any expenditures on my house.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So the only thing he has done has pulled a permit.
Pardon?
The only thing he has done is pulled a permit and cashed the checks.
I don't know what he did with my money.
No, I mean, he pulled a permit for the 2 houses.
He did pull the permits way back when I was ready to end the contract.
Okay.
When I notified him that I was ending the contract, he pulled the permits the day before to show my sister. Day before. Months after, I want to say, permits might have been pulled in September. July?
July 8th.
July.
And for the board to know, y'all know, he pulled 2 of these permits like 2 days apart from each other for all 3 of these cases, I'm pretty sure. One was pulled on the 3rd or the 4th or July or something like that, and one was pulled on the 8th.
And he got the
just
first
keep that in
check
mind.
in October, and 3 weeks later, November 16th, he got the other check for $50,000.
I saw the dates on the check.
Okay? Anything else?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the board for Mr. Rushing? All right, well, thank you, Ms. Rushing.
Thank you.
7-3, yeah, they're 4 days apart. Yeah, between,
All right, Mr. Bidley.
All right, covered account, count 1, committing fraud or deceit in the practice of contracting.
I make a motion that we find Mr. Hammond guilty of count 1 and fine, and then make him pay restitution.
We'll do penalty second.
What do you say?
Have a motion?
Johnny, I will second that motion.
All righty, I have a motion for the, for guilty on the count 1, and I have a second for that. All in favor? Aye. So that motion carries.
Very nice. And so we'll go into the penalty phase, and you all have the,
Is this the same section G?
this is actually 1L. So it is,
1L.
it's further back. It's 3 pages, 4 pages from the back.
All right.
At the,
And it is highlighted.
and it's
for the board
highlighted by
meeting.
Ms. Holland because she's a gem.
Thank you, Ms. Silver.
So you'll see there's a blank. Don't be afraid, because there are 2 lines under it. And so Section 49, 129, 1L, committing fraud or deceit in the practice of contracting, you would find either under 1, causing no monetary or harm to licensee, or 2, causing monetary or other harm to licensee's customer. So I would ask that you make a finding of fact that you're selecting number 1 or number 2 under what the board has decided about whether or not there was a monetary harm to the licensee. So I think it would just be cleaner if we could do that. I'm sorry, I should have had you find this finding. On your motion, Mr. Dalton, would you amend your motion? Sorry. Would you amend your motion and indicate that there was or was not harm to the customer, monetary harm?
Yes, I'll amend my motion that he is charged guilty of that motion, and there was monetary harm.
And the second?
I will second that motion. Amended motion.
Perfect. Okay. And so if you all would agree with that by? Okay.
All members voted to agree with the motion that was made for the $5,000.
So now we'll go into the fine, and you can start there, yeah.
Was on the fine.
Yes. So now we can talk about the penalty under number 2. So the minimum is a $5,000 fine and probation or suspension, and the maximum is a fine and revocation. A revocation of his license.
He loses his license.
He loses his license.
Yes.
Right.
No, you do not. That's the maximum. That's the maximum penalty. You do not.
Right.
Yeah, because that's not, we can't take the,
So then, what we're
I
discussing.
guess we're just discussing at the moment before we make a motion.
What we're discussing at this time is we're now to the number 3.
Yeah.
We're at the 3rd one, and what we're making, Mr. Yates is saying is that you continue to stack these fines on that for the gentleman that is not appreciating his license.
Right.
Understood, yeah.
So at this point, do you continue to fine and stand the fines up? Or
Well-
you've got other ones that is
Right.
that we have just determined to try to help get them satisfied.
Right.
And if you take his license out of that, then they're not going to
Right.
be satisfied that we just
May I?
we made a decision on.
May I say something?
I don't think that would be appropriate at the moment. Let the board deliberate. If they want to ask you, just let them get their thoughts.
But I like to recommend we extend his probation for the sake of the 84-year-old lady. You can't get blood out of a turnip. So he must work to pay her back.
He did request, she's not even requesting restitution
Right.
because she has a criminal case that would.
Right. But they're going to handle that for her. But still, these other ones, the basic thing, you can't put a guy in prison for 20 years and get money. You ain't going to get it. It's just zero. We give him opportunity to work and change his ways. Now, if he don't appreciate that, I mean, it is what it is. We as the board done all we could do.
So are you guys worried that if we revoke his license, the other 2 cases aren't going to get what they need?
Exactly.
That's correct.
It's a great chance they won't.
Great chance.
He got the license.
But I'm worried about the fact that they're going to get.
Maybe 15 others.
Yeah, right.
Well, if there's
down the
others,
line.
if they come before the board.
We already know.
Yeah.
We eliminate guessing if they come before us again. We know his name real well. We've heard it 3 times.
I make a motion to fine him $5,000 and suspension for another consecutive year. That's 3 years. If
The
he doesn't pay the
suspension.
fine.
That is 3 years of probation.
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 If he doesn't pay.
Because he can still work on his contract.
But this is a fine that goes
Right.
to the state.
Yeah, you don't have a
slap on the
choice.
hand.
There's a minimum
Restitution.
fine
Yeah.
on this one.
Well, that's fine. He can work it out. He worked himself in this hole. He have to work himself out the hole.
So are you, just to clarify your motion, a $5,000 fine and probation,
Right.
And
an additional year, so 3, that'll be a third,
Probation.
a consecutive probation period?
3 years.
correct,
Okay.
And if you don't walk the chalk line, you pay the piper.
correct.
So what I have a motion for is $5,000 restitution.
Fine, this is a fine.
This is a
County will
fine.
get that.
All right, that is be for the Walton County, that is a $5,000 fine. And then this is going to evolve that to 3 years of probation.
Well, you can
on
just do
Mr.
it separate. Just say 1 year probation consecutive.
Right.
Yeah.
It runs wild. It don't run together.
So my motion
go ahead there.
is
What was-
$5,000 fine and probation to run consecutive with the other 2 years.
And what was your question?
I was going to say, did we say probation on the other 2 cases? We just said suspension. So this
If he
one-
doesn't pay, it was suspension.
Well, suspension, but are we going to put him on probation now? Those are different.
Well, he got to earn that probation. If he don't, his license can be revoked by the same board again.
Yeah.
Because he violated the terms, we gave him a second chance. So if he want to turn his life around and get things right, he got that opportunity.
That's what I'm saying.
Joy, would you
How
read?
long do we want to put the probation for this?
Let's be clear. Let's have her. She's our reporter. So let's have you read back what on the first case, what the penalty, just to be, that's a fair question to make sure it's a probation period.
Says you prison you.
I believe the first 2 were suspension if he did not pay the fine.
Yeah,
That's
right.
how I understand
We
it.
didn't put it on
Correct.
probation.
It
Okay,
was
so we don't need to
suspension if he
read
did
that
not
back
pay
as
the
far as
fine.
I'm concerned, because that's how I remember both of
So
them.
that's what I'm saying. For this one, are we going to put him on probation for 3 years or for 1 year? Because the way you guys said consecutive was about suspension.
I would
Correct. So
recommend
it'll
the 3
it'll
years.
be
Hey,
probation for 1 year.
Probation for 1 year.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
1 year?
Probation, if it's not a place to quit your job, $1,500 fee if it's not.
Yeah, that was right. That was right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we said. So that's correct.
So let me make sure that I am motioning this correctly. This is $5,000 fine for Walton County, and then it is the 1 year probation.
Probation.
Correct.
I think that money's going to go to the state, but we understand.
Do I have a second for this?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Do you got that, Ms. Joy?
Yeah.
So then, this takes care of the case for 2504, Ms. Charlene Russian, and what the fines are going to be. This winds up what we have for the 3 cases here. Mr. Justin Hammond, I sure hope that tonight that you'll find this, that is not as bad a punishment as it could have been. We could have took your license away from you, but that would not have been fair to the other people that you got to tend to. I want to make sure that you know, though, that up here what we're doing, we cannot have this in the county. It'll get out in the county that we don't have contractors that care about what we tend to. And that is the truth. We can't do that.
Just to make sure we're clear, the $5,000 fine goes to the state. Does he pay that directly to the state, or how does he get to the state?
So after this is complete, we will, I'm going to have to re-listen to this meeting and make sure I captured everything that you've said properly and take Ms. Joy's notes and do so. I will compile an order with your findings of fact, and when the order is entered into the court record, it will then, the fines will be paid to wherever he's got to pay them. We'll make sure we know that whenever it happens, but as you all know, and as you know, this is very rare. So wherever the fine has to go, it'll be paid in accordance with the statute and with our code. So I'll get the answer so that Mr. Hammond is aware of any fines, or because everything was a restitution on the first two cases. It was just to the person. There was no actual fine. It was restitution. And those would go to them, and they would tell Joy, I've been paid. On the third count, it is a fine based on this, and that fine to be paid would be paid within the 1 year. Obviously, the board's, what they wanted to do is have the consumer made whole, not the state getting $5,000 more dollars. So that would be during the probation period that they would pay that fine where it needs to go. So what I intend to do is to get that order together for the board to sign. Obviously, we will do a quick meeting at 5 o'clock, but what I'll do is I'll get that together, and I will have Joy will circulate that to you gentlemen. That way you can read over it, make sure it's what you agreed to, and have you vote on that, and then we'll enter it. So that'll be a quick meeting. And
Correct.
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 it's suspension if he it's suspension if he doesn't pay.
Doesn't pay in time.
So it only suspends if he doesn't pay. So you won't know for 90 days. I think it was, or is it 60? It was 30 and 60.
30 and 60
so
days.
in 60 days, if he hasn't paid both of those two fines, then that's how that will roll.
All righty, do we have anything other to discuss tonight?
Got a hand up there on this.
Yeah. You've all both come up here. So we have Ms. Russian and Ms. Orlando coming up.
Well, all three coming up.
Oh, okay, then.
You don't sing a song from that.
All
I
right.
understand. I'm a full believer in giving people second chances. I gave this man 4 second chances while he was working on our job. It was that serious at points. And while I appreciate everybody trying to make sure that we get something back, I do appreciate that. It's going to be at the expense of the people that he is now doing jobs for. It will be at their expense. And that is why Ms. Rushing and I both said, while I would appreciate our money back, knowing that that money is going to come from him doing to other people what he did to us, which is essentially he will bid a job for them. They will give him money to do that job. And because he owes all of these people, their money will not go to their job. That doesn't sit well. I don't want the next person's job and the next person's job to be like our job so that we can get our money.
I completely understand you, but we can only deal with this situation.
You could say that he cannot write any more contracts.
Yeah,
but then at the same time, you're going to be hurting the people down the road. You're going to be hurting yourselves.
How are we going to be further hurt? $10,000 isn't going to pay for my house to be completed. $5,000 isn't going to pay for her house to be completed. And the fact that this man is standing here today saying, I don't know what he's saying to you guys, that I don't have the money. He doesn't have her money. He doesn't have my money. He doesn't have their money. He has the people's jobs that he's working on now, or Joe Smith tomorrow that he signs a contract with and gets a 10% down.
But
that is where our money is going to be coming from.
Ms. Orlando, that is one thing too, that in these criminal cases that you'll get into, they'll tend to sort to that end of the thing. What we are here and we're able to do is that we're over to see to make sure that that contractor, he knows that now this board, we do not approve of the way that he is acting. And we have laid some pretty, Miss Frankie, she said, we don't do that awful lot of put a lot of fines on people and restitution on people. And then to sit there and tell that gentleman that we're going to watch him now. You can believe that.
But let me help you out. You're 84 years old. You got a lot of wisdom. But now, I can say this from experience. It's hard to judge the book by the cover.
Yes.
But we owe each other a failing opportunity. Now, if he don't make it, I guarantee you Mr. Hogan won't lose an hour's sleep. But we gave him that God-given opportunity. He get a chance to clean up his back. He can't erase what he done, but I guarantee you he can clean tomorrow up if he choose to. If not, don't worry about him. He'll come back up here.
But Mr. Hogan, what about the people that he does a contract with, robbing Peter to pay Paul?
It's okay.
And you're going to keep doing this forever?
Nope.
No.
You know what he gonna do? You ever heard the old
first three
saying?
we've had on
You
it.
make your bed hard, you got to do what?
I can't unscramble eggs, sweetie,
See?
but I tell you this, we can.
So that's up to him. I wish I could answer that for you, but I can't. That's up to
If he
him.
comes before this board again, I think his punishment will be as harsh as it can
It
be.
ain't gonna be much to say. Because if I was sitting in his shoes, I'd want the same opportunity.
We know this many more.
And it's bad. It ain't good. And I understand
There's many
that.
more victims.
I know.
We know already.
I know that, but I'm sadly to tell you, he ain't the last one. They might name him George the next time, but trust me, he coming. So we ain't worried about that. But when he gets you, we gonna get him.
I just
Follow me?
I don't want to
I know,
get a
I
check from
understand
him and
clearly
it
what
came
you're
from
saying.
this girl down the street.
Right. But
That's
I
not
wish
gonna
I could
feel
live in
good.
that perfect world too, but I can't either.
Yeah,
I get out the door, my car might be gone.
Yeah.
As I've said to each
we
one,
obviously completely understand where you're coming from. But
Yeah.
Again, we can't.
But give him a
can't predict
living
what's going to
break.
happen. Yeah.
Give him a chance to change.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if he don't, I bet you don't hold your head down.
We're gonna watch
You've
him
done-
like a hawk.
There you go. You've done everything you could. But now if you see him about a year from now and he flying around, don't say nothing. Don't be talking about, Lord have mercy, look what the good man does.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank
But
you.
y'all
thank
go.
you again, then.
We appreciate hearing from you.
Is there anything else to discuss with this meeting? Well, I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Everybody said.
I have the second. Then all in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Thank you.
I'm not sure. Let's stay here.
Can y'all write me a, hey, can y'all write me a little note?